the tall, tall pine trees grow. There'll live a preacher daughter, and she knows how to jelly roll. And a papa wanna save my soul, but a sweet
this is the life.
You know, it'd be a lot more helpful if you were actually checking the GPS coordinates with that thing.
Well, hold on, Dane. I'm about to beat my high score.
Come on, man. We've been paddling our asses off up here.
Well, Levi, you are looking a little thinner.
Well, thank you. I've actually been feeling a lot thinner.
I haven't.
All right, so it's pretty much showing that it's right under us.
Like, in the water?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you bring your pole?
No. Anthony, where did you get this? This is mine.
I know, I took it from you.
Well, this'll work.
Three hours later.
Nice. An end link.
You got any water?
Of course, Dean. Always prepared for situations like this.
Thank God. Oh, damn it. What about you? Any luck?
Heck yeah, Dane. Look at all this cool stuff I've been finding.
Yeah, that's nice and all, but we're looking for coins.
Oh, the coin?
3 hours earlier.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I found that a while ago.
Wait.
Hold on. You mean to tell me you've had the coin this entire time?
Well, not the entire time, but like, I don't know, 3 hours or so.
Hours?
Hours?
Hours? We've been out here for hours.
I know, isn't magnet fishing fun?
No! Levi, damn it. You've had your fun. Give me the coin.
All right.
All right, more coordinates, I hope?
Yeah. 43.41 degrees north by 116.43 degrees west.
Good, let's go, let's go. All right,
Okay.
onward!
Man, oh man, where will we go next? Well, welcome to day 4 of TRCMA 2022. I hope you're enjoying this journey as we all have. And as per usual, we've got some great guests today here in the morning. So let me bring them up right now and talk about what we got going on. Starting off with Veloci, MTM Hydro Performance Products, followed by Solution Finish, and wrapping out the day with Wrap Institute there for the morning block. Then in the afternoon, we've got Flex Tools, Buff and Shine, and PNS to round out the day there at the end with some fun reveals and lots of cool stuff yet to come. And guys, I just got to say, it's been a pleasure this whole week having you all on this journey with us. Here in the comments, keeping things lively, keeping things fun, popping. We love that. So keep the comments coming, and I really want to encourage everybody, if you haven't taken a look, go to the ragcompany.com website, check out those charity coins, because today's charity coin is by PNS, and they are giving to the Samburu Project, which is a fantastic project for clean drinking water in Africa. So if you want to support that, get yourself a coin. They're $10, but don't worry, 100% of the proceeds go to that charity. So you can feel good while getting a cool bit of memorabilia for TRCMA 2022. So I hope you take part in that. And of course, beyond that, we've got the sales going on. Every day is a unique sale, and it's good for that day only. So don't miss out. If you're interested in any of these brands, now's the time to pick this stuff up. You're not going to find a better deal than 20% here at the Rag Company. Extremely rare kind of sale opportunity. So just throwing that out there, you should definitely check that out if you're in the market for some new detailing supplies from the following folks. And let's just get things started off. Let's see what's new, what's going on over at Veloci.
All right, guys, so welcome to day 4 TRCMA. We're kicking off the morning with the team from Veloci, and I'm extremely excited because everything on this table is oh man, I don't even know where to begin. I can't wait for them to start breaking everything down. So joining me, I have Derek, I have Mike here. I'm gonna allow them to introduce themselves and what they do, what their plans are for today. Jump into it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Anthony. My name is Mike Grindle with Veloci Performance. I am the sales director over there. And before we do anything, I want to let everybody know we're giving away a couple amazing things today. Number one is going to be this brand new hose reel kit that we just launched. And this particular kit is, I'll get into a few of the details, but it's a 50-foot non-marking gray on a 50-foot reel with extra parts and pieces. The way to win this is that Ann and Maddie, who are watching back in HQ in Minnesota, are going to post in the comments right now our list of team members. Specifically, they're going to provide you a link of Meet Our Team at the Veloci page. You have to guess who the originator of this particular kit is. Derek and I are the only ones who know, and whoever guesses it right wins it at the end of this episode.
Oh man, okay, that's pretty exciting. Well, I need my phone. I need to obviously start getting. Okay, maybe I can't enter this, but I'm excited for anybody that does. So, is it the first person to guess the correct answer?
Yes, the first person to guess the right name of our team member that came up with this. So, like I said, Ann and Maddie, I know you're watching right now. Please get it in the comments. The link to our Meet the Team page on velociperformance.com.
All right, heck yeah.
I'm Derek with Veloci Performance Products. I am the National Outside Sales Manager. I travel and meet with 250 to 300 dealers per year. We're also giving away a Kit 16 today. This Kit 16 will be given away to the person that comments the closest to, without going over, the total amount of comments during our session today.
Okay.
We're also going to be giving away, Anthony, our Ventuno bracket. We'll get more into the details on that, but that will be given away to the first 10 people that buy MTM Hive Duo products from ragco.com. And they use that 20% off code.
Awesome. So that in that bracket right there, that can hang some things, right?
Yeah. We'll get into the details.
Oh, okay. We'll get into more details. I'm really excited because, like I said, I want everything on this table. I want it for myself and I want it for my own home. So maybe when they turn their backs later, I'll just kind of swoop it all and run off. But this thing is, it's pretty girthy, right? It's got some weight to it. It's got some heft to it. It's extremely nice. So with that said, right, so we're going to be breaking down everything here on the table today, kind of going over maybe different things for consumers, different things for shops, kind of the expectations on how the kits work, how things connect, the quick disconnect questions, things like that. Because to be honest, right, as a guy that details day in, day out here in the shop or at home, the quick disconnect aspect of things, right? What fittings go into what, how things work, and how everything comes together to create a great pressure washing solution or just something that's plug and play and ready to go. It's kind of confusing to some people, right? They don't really know how to get into it. And so I think that we'll be able to touch on some of those key things today. So with that said, let's jump straight into it.
Right on. Well, let me tell you a little bit about this kit. So this one, Derek, if you can remind me, what is this going for? MSRP on this guy?
Right around the $350 to $400.
Okay, so $350 kit. Now, some of the details of this kit and how it came about. We've been working on this technically for years, although it never takes that long to really put something like this together because we've had the components for years. What we ran into is that there's a massive amount of labor that goes into each individual kit, and every person actually needs a different setup based on their pressure washer. That's the most confusing part. If you ask Anna Brown, Sean, Dean, any of our sales reps back at home, what they're going to tell you is that their first question is when somebody says, what do I need for this kit? Their answer is, or their first question for that consumer or that person wanting to detail in the garage is, what is your pressure washer? What do you currently have? What connections do you need? And from there, it becomes this spiraling effect where they get confused. There are 15 different components just in this one kit. Yep. And so we want to make sure that we provide you with a one and done solution. This hose reel kit arrives literally like this completely assembled, leak-free, with Teflon and Loctite installed, fittings installed.
That's
it also,
amazing. Yeah, that's half the battle right there, right? It's getting the Teflon and wrapping it and going, huh, I didn't do that great of a job. Let's try it again the next time, right?
Well, and then you get a leak because you've not done it before, and so what takes us 20 minutes can take you an hour and a half. Even if you know what you're doing a lot of times, because you take it off, you get it back on, you're looking at videos online, trying to figure out how do I do this, or what is this little strap for? Am I supposed to connect it right here, or one of these fittings supposed to be right on the swivel? So in this case, we have done the entire thing for you. It arrives as seen here.
Well, mate, what about this? I mean, I'm just, because I saw this. I said, this is way too pretty for it to arrive like that. Does it actually arrive like this, so wound nicely like that? Because, I mean, you know, how things you show, you see, it's like when you see like a nice, good hamburger on the commercial, right? And you say, well, that looks pretty. And then you open up in person and you go, it's not exactly what I expected, right? What can they expect when they open up a box here? What you see?
That's the funny part about this. And I'll give you your first hint. The person that created this is not me. But I did have to do the build for it, and so in the build of materials, I have specifically called out hose must be wrapped perfectly. It literally says that on every build for these hose reels. So it will arrive to you exactly like this. Now what you do with that afterwards is obviously,
that's up to you.
It'll get wound up and that's fine. But it is a gray non-marking 4000 PSI R1 hose. R1 refers to 4000 PSI. That means it's got a single braid. We don't offer the hose reel kit in an R2, which is a 6,000 PSI, but we do, of course, have those for the more industrial customers that we sell to. With regards to the hose reel itself, it is a cold water hose reel, so you're running about 140 degrees through this max, but for most homeowners, and like what you guys have here, you're running cold water through here, right? It's not heated?
We are running cold water, but I think even most shops, 140 degrees, if that's your max, that's what most people would be. They'd be under that, if not right at that. And so we're running cold water all day, so that's nothing we have to worry about.
Yeah, and that's the vast majority of the clients of a particular hose reel like this. I will tell you, we've got some new stuff in the works for some additional models and sizes, as well as materials for this particular kit. But moving on some of these parts and pieces, so it does have an interlock. Any commercial hose reel is going to. That's so that this can not only be mounted into a garage for a detailing enthusiast. This is actually the commercial grade hose reel and hose that the big guys that are actually washing concrete, building faces, the industrial and commercial cleaning group will use this particular reel. And this interlock protects it from when this is mounted to a trailer. Let's say you're driving down the highway and you see somebody with a big 250-gallon tank sitting in the back of their truck, and then they've got a hose reel and a pressure washer. The interlock keeps it from skipping down the highway if it were to come undone. So
very cool.
All commercials will come with this. You've got your brass swivel here with the male end of the hose reel mounted in here. This is the swivel end of the reel of the hose. And then the most important part that causes the most questions, and you can ask Anna Brown this, she will attest to it. This is the most annoying part for end users because they need to know, okay, now how do I connect this thing? I bought all this stuff for this. This is when they try and piece it out. This is the frustrating piece. I bought the hose, I bought the reel, I bought the fittings that I think I need. Now you get down to this portion, and they even pick up the plug, which of course in this model is pre-installed for you, and they say, well, how do I get this onto my pressure washer? You need a whip line, jumper hose, whatever you want to call it. In this case, we have installed both fittings on here, and we've provided you with 2 extra fittings. So on the commercial side, some guy connecting to like a gas pressure washer, he's probably going to have either an M22. Even more likely, he's going to have a plug coming out of the pressure washer, and so you can just connect directly to it. And this is a 5-foot whip line. We ran out of these right away because we sold out when we launched this product just last week. So check with your particular dealer about which size they asked for, because we went with 4-foot, 6-foot, 5,800 PSI, so we made some changes to make sure that people could get these. Either way, they're going to be equal in performance, but the stock and standard size is going to be a 5-foot width. So this would connect quickly right onto the plug, and then over to your pressure washer, which either has a QC plug coming out, or you can install one of the M22s.
Very cool. Okay. And so with that said, so with everything here, right, with this particular reel setup, because depending on where you're going to have it mounted in your garage, or maybe on your truck, or wherever you're going to do it, typically, with this whip line right here, 5 foot is about the distance you probably want between your hose reel and your pressure washer itself, right? And so I guess what I'm trying to ask is that would you see this more in a wall-mounted solution setup for somebody at home that may already have their pressure washer wall-mounted? Is this something to where they could run this whip cord even from their pressure washer that's maybe on the ground? They have this somewhere in that vicinity? And then also, do you have to mount this, or would there be any other options for somebody that didn't want to necessarily make a permanent solution to being on a wall? I mean, like, could you run it here sitting like that on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so you wouldn't really want to run this on the ground, because the second you start, if you unlock it and start pulling it, it's going to want to pull over.
Okay. Okay.
So
gotcha.
you would want to mount it to something.
Something.
The ideal piece of this is that it's a fairly small bracket that you mount on.
Yeah.
There are actual instructions that come with the hose reel kit. The individual who created this had to write every one of those instructions up along with a graphic.
Okay.
And because of that, it makes it easy to install. You do try to want to use lag bolts or something like this. It is 21 pounds loaded and hanging, and wet, we would call it. That's when it's loaded with water and pressurized.
Yeah.
One thing about hose reels that you should know is that when the hose is mounted, it is not under pressure. The second you pressurize hose with anything more than like 1500 PSI, you get this expansion and it actually constricts. You want to make sure that you're using a commercial hose reel with commercial hose if you're using anything over 2000 PSI.
Okay.
That's because it will literally crush the core of the hose, of the hose reel.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay. Good.
So anyway, back to your question though.
Yeah.
You can mount it on a mobile cart.
Yeah.
There's hose reel carts that may or may not be coming out in the future.
Ooh, all right.
You can mount it to a pressure washer. I'm thinking of like a Simpson pressure washer that has like a little plate on the front right behind the washer itself. I've seen it mounted right onto that, which is kind of cool. And most commonly, you're going to see it mounted to either a truck or trailer bed and or the wall of a garage.
Okay.
Always hit studs.
Yeah, always, yeah. Always, well, do you know how many times it takes me to you know what I'm saying? I'll do the stud measure, or I use the scanner, right? I use it on myself first just to make sure it's calibrated. That joke came with being a father, and so after that, then I take it to the wall and make sure I find it, and then I miss every single time, right? Or I nick the corner of it, and I think I'm like, oh, that's in for sure, right? Next thing you know, I'm there with drywall patch, going over everything and fixing everything I once did. Now, I wanted to know though. So the pliability of this hose, right? Obviously, this is a heavy-duty hose. This is something that's got a lot of strength to it, right? So is this something that's going to be still relatively pliable, even under pressure?
As a commercial hose.
Okay. I'm not saying like pliable like a red vine, right? But I'm saying it's something that you can still maneuver around a car effectively.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and actually one of the biggest the most help you're going to get out of something like that is going to be from a swivel at the base of your gun, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. That's actually going to assist more in the pliability of the hose, because you're not doing this whole dance with your pressure washer and trying to clean your vehicle.
You're not doing the...
Yes, exactly.
Stop stealing my shine, guys.
Oh, sorry.
Get to that.
Oh, okay, good. We'll let you get to that here in just a minute.
But as far as pliability of the hose, anytime you're talking a real commercial hose, that's over 4,000 PSI.
Yeah.
So these all have burst ratings as well. Typically, a commercial hose is going to be 3-to-1 burst, and even the 6,000 PSI is going to be 3-to-1. That means that you can go up to 12,000 PSI before this hose will actually burst. Now, that is not applicable if you run over the hose, if you're raking it around the side of a building, your house, at home, where you get scuff marks. And I will tell you, the gray, the common belief is that you pay more and it's going to be more durable, and that's not necessarily the case. In this case, you're paying more for blue. You can see behind us here, we've got this blue non-marking. I can only guess where you got that from our boys over at OG. And then you've also got your gray non-marking. Both are non-marking. They will leave light marks, but they're so light that it doesn't matter, versus the black. This is a silicone-based jacket on here. That means that it is not as durable as the carbon base of a black. And so the black is going to technically last longer, but what you're saving in cost with black, you're going to end up really expensing when you have to clean up the scuff marks on the nice light colored driveway that you just left black marks on.
Okay.
So in this case, it is a high grade Cobra Jet hose wrapped. This is not an actual wrap. It's an impression left as the manufacturer is making the hose.
Very cool. Okay, that is much more intricate than I ever thought a hose could be. I've learned some things today. here in just in the last 5 minutes. That's crazy. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Hey, Mike,
All right.
can you go into the other ones we offer as well?
Sure.
The black and then the black difference between the black and
Yeah.
the gray.
Yeah, so when we talk about the hose, like I said, we've got 3 different categories of hose. We've got blue, the blue Cobra Jet. All 3 are Cobra Jet brand. It's our house brand. The blue is exclusive with OG, which we're happy to continue. Then we got the gray that is a non-marking, and we've got black. I've already explained some of the differences between the silicone jacket and the carbon jacket, and that's where your pricing does change. But then you've also got the R1, R2, as I mentioned before. So you've got 4,000 PSI and 6,000 PSI. And I don't want to bore people with some of these specs, but it's very important to buy the hose that's correct for your application. If you're a commercial cleaner and you're using a 4,000 PSI gray, you can get away with it as long as you're nice to it. But a lot of the commercial guys don't even use gray because they know that they're going to be ripping across concrete. They don't necessarily have to worry about scuff marks, or they're cleaning parking lots, which are going to be asphalt anyway. And so you don't have to worry about that. You can get away with a 4,000 or a 6,000 black.
Okay.
The black is, because it's a 2-wire, there's actually 2 braids inside. And so if you were to look at a cutaway of it, you'd see 1 braid and then a 2nd braid. And on the interior, you have your inner lining, which is where Cobra Jet differs from the rest. We have a 2mm inner lining. And then the exterior jacket, which protects from any external factors of running over it potentially, which you don't want to do, but dragging it around, that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
What are the fittings on the end of the hose right here, where the quick connects go into?
So the quick connects are connecting to a male 3/8 fitting. And so this fitting is pre-installed. We've got, of course, our bend restrictor here.
Okay.
Bend restrictors, of course, restrict bend. The place a hose typically is going to burst is at your joint, right? Yep. And so that bend restrictor is actually made so that, 1, you restrict the amount of curve so that it can't pop, even though it's barbed and crimped. But it also, if there was a burst and there was hot water, it was a hot water application. In that case, the hot water is actually going to run down your bend restrictor. You'll see bend restrictors anywhere from 6 inches up to 4 feet, depending on the application.
Yeah.
And then you've got your 3/8 female 24.0063 stainless coupler on the end here.
Is the fitting on the hose stainless, or what's so special about that?
These are actually acid tested. So this is a different kind of plating. It's a different plating technique that we use so that they will last 72 times longer under the same circumstances compared to a standard plated fitting installed at the end of a hose.
Wow.
So the commercial stuff is very different from the stuff you're going to find at Home Depot, Northern Tool. Not dogging them, I'm just saying you're not getting this stuff at those places. This is, a lot of times, you don't find our stuff there because that's not where the big contractors go for commercial grade goods. And we have now opened that up into the detailing sector. It is the best of the best available to the rest.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I think that for the most part, many of the people watching right here, whether they're enthusiasts or whether they are pro detailers, washing several cars a day to maybe washing their car once a week. I think that this level of quality, especially for the weekend warriors, right? Mm-hmm. This is going to last them. It's going to last them so long. Yeah. They're not going to be abusing this probably the way that some other people will. So I think that this years and years and years. So I guess my quick question would be, relating a little bit more to myself, right? So what I have is I have a CR spotless system, right? Okay. And like many other people do. And so my CR spotless system, I have my water feed that goes into my CR spotless. Then from my CR spotless, I have a hose that goes up into my pressure washer, right? So now my outlet, right? My outlet would be where I would connect this right here.
Yes. Okay. So what is your pressure washer? Number 1 question.
I'm on my 2.5 Karcher 1700 cube. Okay. I say half because we'll see when I'm on to my 3rd. It's not bad. It's been great. It's been great. It's just sometimes it's a little finicky sometimes.
So in that case, I happen to know. So we actually, in addition to the detailing industry, we supply the commercial grade products as well. So Karcher, Landa, Hotsy, Elkoda, Aladdin, Nilfisk, Pressure Pro, all the major commercial brands we also supply. I happen to know that the Karcher K1700 is a 14mm, which is, we've got a 14 over here. Oh, there it is. Yep. Well, it would say 14mm right here.
Okay.
Or a 15mm. That has to do with the stem. And so the stem is this portion. It's the outer diameter of this stem right here. let's see, my camera's on this side. There we go.
That's gonna screw right. Okay, I see what you mean.
That's where we talk about 14 versus 15 millimeter.
Yeah.
A lot of the commercial brands, or I should say contractor brands, which is going to be your Karchers, your Simpsons, F&A, some of those, they're going to require a 14, and then the 15 millimeter are going to be more residential grades. So you're talking about your Ryobis, your Sunjo, Greenworks, some of those. But they have recently gotten back into the 14, so that's why we actually include both of these. We also have what's called an SRG kit. That's a whole nother thing. That's Sunjo, Ryobi, Greenworks, and we have a 15 and a 14 millimeter version. So even if you didn't get all of our stuff, you could still QC your entire system with those particular fitting kits. Okay. They're made special just for those pressure washers.
Yeah, so I mean, this would be for my pressure washer, right?
Yep.
So that's going to screw right in.
Yep.
And then from there, it's going to quick disconnect into this, right? And then this is going to be obviously mounted onto my wall. And then I am going to take that, unreel that, right? Plug in my handle, right? I have the SGS 28, and so right there, and so I'll plug that in and then let it rip, right?
You got it.
All right, it's much easier with them being here, right? Because then I can confirm that's my plan, right? Otherwise, it's me taking two male ends and going, that's not what I had planned out. Well, how did that get there?
And that's the funny part. You get people calling in and they don't know our terminology, and our sales reps and our customer service folks do our best to try and educate people. But they say, I need the female for the male on the one end, but the other end is for the Karcher, and I don't know which one's the gun. And do you have triggers? And what about the coupler on the? I mean, they get confused, and so it's our job to unravel the story and the question that they're actually trying to ask. In the end, they may need one fitting. That is the answer, right? There is the one fitting, because and you guys obviously have all the fittings. It's just that's where it does get confusing, because you map it out in your head, but then once you get it onto everything, you go, oh no, right? Like that was where I messed up, right? I messed up on that one thing. So I mean, if you can call the team and kind of walk them through your setup, I mean, chances are they've helped so many different situations that by the time you're 5 minutes into the phone call, they say, I'll stop you there. I know exactly what you're looking for, get you set up, and that's amazing. So very cool. I'm excited.
I would like to interject one thing right here. Going off of what Mike said, circling back, people get confused about male and female when it comes to quick connects. What we consider as male is male pipe thread. So this will screw in to the female outlet of the thread. But some people might call this a female coupler because this goes inside of this. So we have MPT, which is male pipe thread. So when you're looking at descriptions of what we offer, just know that the threading will be the male portion going inside of the thread. And this is a female thread with a male end. So you can see how they can get confused if you don't have the right terminology.
Yeah, very. Yeah, absolutely.
And every pressure washer is different. And that's the most confusing part. We occasionally get questions about, how do you guys not know this? And it's like, well, there's like 160 pressure washers out there. Every one of them has a different connection. And these companies, it is very standard for them to roll out different models and sizes each year to try and stay ahead of groups of like us, where we want you to upgrade the accessories. I can tell you the number one thing, because I've been in this industry for many, many years, that the first thing people cut, and that's the OEMs, is the aftermarket accessories. They put all their money into the engine or the motor and the pump to make sure it works. But when it comes to the accessories, that's where we step in. We are the upgrade to the upgrade.
Don't look at my setup. There's some we can
help you with that.
There's some questionable Amazon quick disconnects on there that needless to say, I haven't created a nice watertight seal. So I'm the guy that has I take a microfiber towel and I sit it underneath the section that leaks, and I say, I better be quick before that starts dripping down to the second layer of whatever's underneath that. So another quick question, out of curiosity, right, just because I have you guys here, give me your top 5 most, I will do top 3, the most common pressure washers you guys see and get questions about. That's what I really want to know. What's everybody calling saying, I have this, I have this, I have this?
You have the throwaways of the Karchers, the the Karchers, the Greenworks, the Sunjos that you can buy for under $200 at your local Home Depot or Lowe's. But the number one pressure washers that are out there that customers are using are Kranzla, AR, and Comet.
Okay, and do you see any, I mean, are those the questions that you get probably the most in terms of outfitting it with the, the crazy accessories afterwards, or the quality accessories, I should say, afterwards? Or do a lot of people maybe call in saying, I'm trying to soup up my, my Honda Civic Karcher, right? Or my, my, whatever it might be, my Jetta Sunjo, and I'm trying to make it into a Ferrari. So I just kind of want to know what people are typically asking questions about, because I find it's really relatable to everybody watching.
Well, we do get both instances of that, where people call in beforehand, before purchasing a pressure washer, and they think that's the one they want. Yeah. And then after they speak to us and we tell them like it's only going to last 25 to 30 hours of runtime, the ones that you get from the consumer stores, then they change their mind and then they go look at different ones. But they also call in and know what they want already, and specific machines have different fittings. Kranzla has a 15 millimeter outlet, and also it needs a different size orifice for our foam cannon that the consumer doesn't know either. So
now another honest question, right? And you guys I'm sorry, I'm asking the hard questions now, right?
No.
Would okay, no, I'm not asking hard questions. Okay, so I'm asking, I guess, the questions that I really want your personal opinion on. So when it comes to buying a pressure washer, right? Because we know that there is expensive pressure washers out there, right? We know that they can get up to over $1,500, $2,000, right, for consumer stuff, right, for the home hobbyist, because that's who we cater to the most, right? Is it worth it? I really want to know your guys' honest opinion. Is it worth spending a couple $100s for the once a week guy, or is it worth spending more money to hopefully have that machine last longer?
This is it completely depends on what you want to do with it. Okay. If you're doing your vehicle and that's all you do, then and you want to spend less than $300. Actually, the K1700, which you have, is my number one. My number two is actually a Ryobi. Okay. If you get into the next level of that, where you're looking at $300 to $600, you're looking at like usually the AR600 series. Okay. There's a new one coming out. Keep an eye on that one. Okay. There's something very interesting about it.
Oh, sorry, we said too much. Okay. Yeah.
And then once you get past that, you're looking at the Kranzlas. Yes, the Kranzlas are great. I've had a chance to use them. They're beautiful. They flow really well. The reason that some pressure washers perform better than others is, again, like I said, has to do with the motor that's installed and the pump that's installed. Even though the cost went into that $300 pressure washer into the pump and the motor, it's still not going to be the same caliber as like an AR or, in this case, Kranzla. So by class or by tier of pricing, those would be my recommendations. Okay. And that doesn't count for like gas. Yeah. So when I talk about gas, like I prefer the gas that I have. I've got a Power Shot by Simpson. I love it, but it does require me to have gas on hand. I've got to have it outside. There's a little bit more setup with it. It's not a fixed install inside the garage where I've got a hose reel mounted. Everything is outside. So there is more work to it, but I will tell you one thing. There's a reason that our stuff is rated to 1100 PSI minimum. And that's because you're flirting with the low end of performance for our commercial grade products. And I want to say that very specifically. Commercial grade products are made for higher PSI ranges. So when you look at like the $300 to $600 pressure washer and the $600 plus pressure washers and into gas pressure washers, that's where you start getting into when the types of pressure washers that these products are made for. Yeah. We have more questions about the performance of our products not performing with we'll say low end, but the inexpensive pressure washers, the economical ones, than we do anything with gas and anything with a nicer pressure washer, because the flow and the PSI are better for our products being commercial grade.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
That's my soapbox. So
yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah.
So how does this hose reel arrive to you, Mike? I mean, you say it arrives like that. The hose is perfectly corded up, but with our warehouse team. Thank you, warehouse team. Yes. By the way, you guys work putting on all those overtime hours to get those orders out, get those shelves stocked from the containers that won't stop arriving. I really appreciate that. But how does that arrive to you?
Yeah, so we literally, I'll talk to you, just give me the 1 minute on the assembly process, and then I want to hear more about this gun, because that's actually my baby over there. This particular kit, we take it out. We have 15 different components that we lay out on the bench. We have a wheel that we mount the hose to, because that's coiled up separately. And then from there, everything gets mounted. It gets Teflon, it gets Loctite, like the ends of these fittings are all Loctite. Yeah. The handle itself is not installed, just for shipping reasons. I can assure you UPS would be unforgiving. but it would mount, when you get it, it will come like this. So we take everything out, lay it out, assemble it all, wind the hose, and then we put this in a bag and you would mount it right here. So it comes with all the hardware.
Okay.
Just nuts and bolts, and it would mount right here.
Very cool.
So that's all the work you have to do
That's
once
it.
it comes out of the box. So come out of the box
And
just like that.
decide on your fitting.
Easy.
Your 14 or your 15 mil fitting.
I love that. Yeah, that's easy. That's much nicer than sitting there and struggling. Because I would struggle. I really would.
Paying
honestly.
for convenience, I can promise you
Yeah.
that. It is worth every cent.
Yep, absolutely.
So the Rayco is offering our 50-foot gray and our 100-foot gray as well for what they're offering. But we also have 2 other kits that Mike would like to elaborate on.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the black hose reels.
With the carbon jacket.
Yeah, so the carbon jacket is probably going to be something a bit more commercial grade. Now, I have an asphalt driveway, so I would love to have this, but honestly, I could probably save a few bucks and go with a carbon jacket. So because of that, if I'm using a carbon jacket, you can use a 50 or 100 foot. That's what the kits come with. So there are 4 different kits, 2 in the 50 and 2 in the 100 foot, black and gray for each. Your 50 foot is going to be good enough if you've got to have a pressure washer that is over the 2000 PSI mark. Every foot you get away, you drop 1 PSI. And on little pressure washers, I can drop up to 2 PSI. So if you've got a 2000 PSI and you're only 50 feet away, you're dropping 100 right there. When you drop PSI, that means that when you're hitting it through your foam cannon, we'll take our little minis here. When you're hitting it through the foam cannon, it hits that orifice, you're not getting a proper chemical integration.
Yeah,
because this is basically a chem injector. Yeah, it's a chem injector on steroids is what these foam cannons are. And so if you're losing PSI, you may be maxing out your GPM, but your thresholds are thrown off. And so you don't get as good a foam.
Gotcha.
So that's why when people say, well, I use your hose, which is 100 foot, but my pressure washer came with a 30 foot because it was like a little, I don't know, Sunjo or something. You actually have better pressure on that 30 foot hose, which is why they sent it to you, than the 100 foot. So you've got a pressure drop that is now impacting your foam production.
Gotcha. Okay. That is it's all great to know. Okay, so let's talk about this gun here. So we have this baby right here, right? We've been using this and abusing it. I would tell you that we haven't dropped it, but that would be a lie. It's fallen a couple times, but you know what? Pick it right back up, continues to work. So I want to know. Let's break it down. Tell me about it.
So this is our Alkaline Kit 16 that was actually brought to us to be made by the Rayco here. Jeff and John and Peaches came to me and said they need a better unit than what we offer of our Kit 2. Our Kit 2 comes with this lance right here with the molded grip. It's a little bit heavier.
Yep.
So Jeff and John said we need something better. Our customers are commercial. They like quality. We need it. So I offered them the Kit 16 with the Alkaline lance. 20 inches with a bend, 15-degree bend. The bend is to get over and above cars and on the roofs and whatnot in the hard-to-reach places.
Yep.
It comes with the Sgs35. And so I'm going to break down the components separately because there's a lot that goes into this gun.
There is.
So with the Sgs35 Spray Gun, it comes with stainless steel 304 fittings installed with Loctite.
Okay.
And it also has a stainless steel built-in live swivel. So when you guys were trying to get your dance on earlier.
Yeah, right. We were sitting there doing the rotations, right?
So the point of the swivel right here is to make it so you don't get tied up in your hose or get whatever, just the pliability of your hose.
Correct.
And the other thing is the fatigue on your wrist, because if you always have the hose pulling on you when it's coiled up, your wrist is always doing extra work that it does not need to.
Yeah.
The other thing about this, it has a stainless steel pipe inside, 304.
Okay.
With a ceramic ball and a ceramic ball, stainless seat, and a stainless spring. What that means is that you can use a caustic chemical through this without it causing damage.
Okay. And so what kind of chemical would be? I mean, are people ever running caustic chemicals through something like this? I mean, is that or is it just to basically as like a preventative thing?
Well, in the detailing world, not so much. Okay. But in soft wash, in actual commercial grade car washes, tunnels, that kind of thing, that we may say no to the tunnel, but there are millions of Americans who don't.
Yes.
And so what Derek's talking about actually, and so we've got the stainless swivel here. This is my favorite part with these, otherwise I'd give it to Derek, but I have to like guard this.
Hold on, I'm not done yet.
Let me just tell you, I'm going to show people really quick I'm going to take the backing plug off here. So this is that gun. These are the guts of the gun.
Okay.
Where are we at over here? Right there.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Actually, you guys took that apart. That was my gun I was taking home. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But that's pretty cool. Okay,
so
you
we've got
can
a backing
see.
plug right here.
Has anybody ever, I don't know if anybody's ever shown this on camera, because I don't think anybody would ever take apart their gun, so this is pretty cool to see this.
This is the quality part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and so you've got actually a ceramic ball inside here, stainless steel spring, and then your cage, I'll try and hold still here, and then your cage right here, which is also stainless. So the actual stainless components are going to be this, your spring, and the inlet pipe, and the swivel. Sorry, we're going to bounce around a little bit.
Yeah.
The nickel-plated brass, here, we'll hold them together so people can actually see.
Oh, my stomach could be like a backdrop or something. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Perfect. And so the nickel-plated brass component is going to be the valve system here. And that's a patented design. It's an easy pull design. And you can tell because it's mounted, this trigger is mounted ahead of where the pin is. So there's an actuating pin inside here. And that pin, as it shuttles back and forth, it pushes this ball, it pushes the ball down, and then water can flow around it out the chamber. So Derek, keep going, I'm sorry, that's like my favorite thing to say.
Okay, no, that is pretty intricate if I say so myself. That's pretty crazy. I did not know it worked to that extent. That's amazing.
The only other thing I was going to say about the Sgs35 is that it's rated up to 5,000 PSI, 12 gallons a minute. Can handle the temperature you need to give it. The other thing my favorite thing is, because I have big hands, and I love the feeling of it in my hand. The ergonomical grip fills your hand so you don't have to squeeze, causing the finger fatigue constantly.
Yeah.
Finger fatigue, this is why Veloci came out with the easy pull trigger handle.
Yep.
When you pull other pressure washing guns, the handle's stiff, and that means you're always constantly applying pressure, which also causes fatigue. If you're using this gun in a commercial basis, on a commercial basis, every day, you're going to want the best thing that will cause less fatigue and keep you going.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's one other thing for the commercial. I mean, I guarantee there's people that buy Radical products that do it commercially, not just detailing. It has this extra guard right here, so your finger guard, so you don't hit it on something or break your hand.
Yeah. So it basically was built for abuse, right? So like I said, don't go and smash it on the ground by any means, but I mean enjoy it, use it as it's intended, because not only does it look good, I think that it functions absolutely fantastic, and I think I might be just partial to the blue color, right? Maybe because that company it is what it is, but no, it's fantastic. It's such a great gun, and so with here, so can you kind of give me a breakdown of, is there any other things needed other than this is just direct plug and play to the tip of your choice for your spray pattern, right at the very end, or your foam can? How would you set this up from foam cannon to rinsing?
From foam cannon rinsing, got to insert it in there.
Okay.
And then we offer as well, but does not come with the Kit 16 package, is the Alkaline Nozzle Guard.
Okay.
So if you want to rinse, you just put this in.
Okay.
Then
and this is rubberized at the very tip of that, right? So if you were to, it's got a nice rubberized on there. So if you were to hit something with that, hopefully it wouldn't cause any damage.
So if you can zoom in real quick to see what I just did right there, and not many people can tell.
There you go, yep.
So right here, if you look in closely.
Right on the coupler.
Right on the coupler, right.
Sorry.
So basically, right when I just put that nozzle tip in there, the Alkaline Nozzle Guard, you can see that I did not fully engage the coupler.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen once I go to use it?
That's gonna fire right off into the side of a vehicle, right? Hopefully not. Hopefully you shoot downwards, right, before that happens.
Right, so that's what was Alkaline Nozzle Guard. So if you had a regular nozzle tip, a QC nozzle tip, and you shot that out, you're not going to find it.
Yeah.
If you shoot this out, it's going to hit your car. Hopefully not going to do any damage. It doesn't have to plug in, but you're also going to be able to find it.
Yeah. Because have you guys ever shot one of those off and lost it? I have.
Yep.
I have. Let's just say I learned the hard way. I once shot a nozzle tip at Dylan Von Kleist from Rupe's window when we were doing a Wash Wednesday. It didn't break it, right? But it was, I definitely, you just kind of sit there for a second. You go, wow, that could have been really bad. I'm glad he doesn't hate me. And from there, right, I've always had the practice of kind of, shooting somewhere else besides the car first, just to make sure everything's working properly. But I've even been in my front yard and just kind of shot upwards and just fired one off and been like, yeah, I don't know where that went. It's going to land somewhere on my roof, and I'll find it when I change Christmas lights next year, right?
Yes. Well, and that's actually as part of our first day training. We had a couple of new people recently First day, Jack, our new customer service guy, who's been awesome on the team, him and Sarah just killing orders right now, which is great. The faster they can get them to the warehouse, the better. First day of training, I had him walk in back, and we fired up even the Karcher, and we loaded a nozzle, just partially, and shot it across the wash bay, and it carries that O-ring every time. And so the most obnoxious part is that when you do that by accident, you don't even realize it, you shoot out the O-ring, then you actually find your nozzle, and you go to re-engage it, and you got spray everywhere. Because your O-ring, your watertight seal is gone.
That's a good point. You don't really
extra O-rings.
Yeah, you don't think about the O-rings. Yeah, you don't think about the O-rings. You do it and then you put it back together and you go, it's broken. You don't know what's wrong with it.
So a lot of people don't even know there's an O-ring in there.
Yeah.
So when it does happen, you do get leaking with your nozzle tip in there. It's coming out around it. You're missing the O-ring. O-rings are wearable items, so don't think the item's a faulty item.
Okay.
They wear out over time from quick disconnecting constantly, and like Mike said, you can blow it out. So.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so because moving on from
see those.
Moving on from there, let's talk about these fancy things. They had a pretty cool name. Yeah, they had a pretty cool name.
Just one more thing about the Kit 16. This is a vented grip lamp, so it can be used under heat. 316 stainless steel pipe, highest quality stainless steel you can get. It's lighter and more durable as well.
Very cool. So, yeah, really quick here. So your mic, we're gonna get you taped up really quick. So step over there for 1 second. There, you tape up your mic. Sometimes here, right? Our tape, right? We kind of tape things up and we go, oh no, we've lost our microphone. We want to make sure we have good quality audio across the board. So until he gets back and to explain these, right? So with this said, right? So we're gonna have this kit ready to go here at the Rag Company, right?
Yes.
And
do you remember how does somebody win that?
So somebody wins that by saying, "Hey, Anthony, you're an awesome guy."
Okay,
and,
no,
I'm just
no,
kidding.
no,
Okay,
no.
that's not the rules. Okay, explain the rules one more time for everybody that may have missed it.
The commenter, nobody from the Ragco or Veloci, please. The commenter who can guess the correct number of comments from this entire this set. So from this hour, and we will go back and count everything up. We're looking for engaging comments, not A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. You sound like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Dane's over there like, wait, A, B, C.
It's easy. Yeah, it's okay. All right, I'm done. But yeah, a good engaging comment. Yeah, okay. It counts, all right?
If possible.
Yeah.
Hello, Testimonial.
And yes, this is my real gray hair. I have kids. Thank you.
Is that what happens?
I always get asked that.
So I just had one kid, right? She's 6 months old, and so was that after the first, the second?
This is like before presidency and after. So for like every 4 years, it's like this new section goes gray. Okay. So this is the most recent one back here.
Well, you know what? It looks good on you, man. You pull it off well.
Yeah,
so
right.
all right, so we got you mic'd up. We're ready to rock and roll.
Call them the Silver Fox, by the way.
Explain these for me.
So
I like those.
are our new vent tuner brackets. These have been asked for by quite a while. Some other competitors out there make a different variation of it. We've seen those different variations and we wanted to improve it. So we came with 304 stainless, 12 gauge stainless steel. And then we also seen that everybody else only has one use for it. So with us, we have two uses. You can mount this part to your mobile detailing van.
Yep.
Or to your wall of your garage, wherever you want it. Put this on there. I don't have a phone scanner. Yeah. Got it? But then you can also take this part off on the go. So if you're in your mobile detailing van, you got your 2-wash bucket system. You don't ever want to just set your components on the ground when you pay good money for them. They get scratched and beat up, you drop them. So we have the vent tuner bracket that sits on the side. You hook up the gun. This is the wrong setup without the foam cannon, but.
Yeah.
Oh, it's balanced though, and that's the whole concept behind this. Yeah, the 12 gauge stainless, you could just about pick up the front end of a car with this. We did testing on 18, 16, and 14 gauge, and every one of them kept bending. You can get a foam cannon on a lot of the other guys, and we love that people have created this stuff aftermarket. Yeah. There's no better compliment than people creating additional accessories for your accessories. Yeah. We just found that through testing, in weight tests, and extended time testing, that it was bending over time. We don't want to have that. So.
Yeah. No, this is pretty sweet, right? A problem that I didn't think I had, or an accessory I didn't think I needed. And I see it, and I say, well, I need that, right? Of course I need it, right? Because I'm also the guy that, honestly, when I'm out washing in the front yard, because typically I'm in a rush, right? Because, my wife could be saying, hey, hurry up, right? We have a plan for today. So I'm washing, I throw my thing on the ground, it falls into the rocks, and I go, it's fine, scuff it off, wipe it down. It would be really nice just to be able to walk up to my bucket and then just
set it.
Just set it there.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and then move on with everything I needed to do, because there's just far too many times where my pressure washers, my entire setup is just laying on the ground, and I step on it and do other things. But hey, I'm only human, right? What can you do?
And this is commercial grade.
Yeah.
It's literally meant for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we do what's called a drop test before we bring in any of these components, specifically guns, because it's got actuating pieces inside of it. And so that drop test consists of me literally throwing this as high as I can in the air, and then putting it under pressure and seeing if it works, or if it leaks, or if it pops, or something happens to it. None of our guns do that, thank goodness. But on any other pressure washers that we have purchased, we do the drop test as well, and we just stopped advertising it because it happens every time.
Yeah, okay, all right. You guys have too much fun over there. That's what you guys get to foam things, you guys get to throw things, you guys get to shoot nozzles across the parking lot. I mean, you guys do work eventually, right?
I mean, we have to.
You have to, right? You have to,
We wouldn't get to do this if we didn't.
Yeah.
And that's why, last night we were really humbled by, graciously, Jeff brought out the entire team, everybody that was here, out to a restaurant, and one of the local detailers, he's actually I believe he's in San Francisco?
He's kind of Central Valley, California.
Oh, yes, okay, all right. He stood up and he said, he literally thanked the group, and we were all sitting there like, that's really nice of him. And we realized none of us would be here if it weren't for you. And if it weren't for you choosing our products, it weren't for you saying, I want an upgrade. That what I got is not good enough. I want the best. I want something that's going to last longer. I want something that's going to exceed my expectations and performance standards. And that's where we come in. That's where Rupes, PNS, everybody that's here, we are the best of the best at what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to start jumping into questions here. I mean, pretty soon. So Derek, is there anything left to cover here on these last two handles here on the table?
This is a brand new item. I seen that there was a comment that said the guy loves his SGS28, makes his $100 pressure washer feel twice as good.
Yeah.
So
can I hold this?
Yes, please.
So if you don't have enough money to pay for, or you just don't know if you're going to use it as much for the value, we do have our SG28 that we just came out with now. It has a built-in brass stainless steel or brass swivel, live integrate swivel, so it'll work under pressure so you don't get tangled up in your hose and the wrist fatigue. And it's the same for the SGS35 over there.
Okay.
So we got this
or the SG35.
This thing feels pretty good. Feels pretty good in the hand, man.
Yeah, and we talk about the difference between these guns. The smaller ones, the SG28, that happens to be bar, so it's 4,000 psi versus the 35, which is 5,000 psi. Otherwise, these are going to be replicas of one another. So you've got your SGS28 with stainless swivel, you've got your brass swivel SG28, and then you've got an SG35 with brass and an SGS with stainless.
Yeah.
And so you might think like, oh my gosh, you guys are flooding all these guns. If you look at any of our competitors, including us, you're going to see quite a few guns listed with and without fittings, because there are a million applications. We develop this stuff, when I say commercial, I'm talking about literally industrial companies that are cleaning sewers. You've got your restoration companies that are cleaning not just vehicles, but actually cleaning out buildings like ServPro. So we're exclusive suppliers for many of these groups to get the dirty stuff done.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here. My favorite thing, I just feel super cool whenever I connect something into a pressure washer. I'm like, man, dude, that feel. It just feels really, really good. And amazing feel. It feels absolutely awesome. So with that said, Dane, we have some questions there on the back end. I know we do. What are your thoughts so far? Are people loving it?
I have a mountain of comments that are just a series of random numbers of people guessing like the number of comments, which is still happening, which I'll have to keep up with. But you know what? I'm going to stop hitting add to queue because it's just a mess in here. I need to find real questions, which there actually are a number of them. So let me go back through my queue of what I collected here. I'll start at the early bit, and we'll work our way up from there. A lot of guesses as to who made the hose reel kit, and a lot of repeats. But let me find something here that is not that. Oh man. Oh, maybe it was a joke. Jay here asking what the mini sprayers are used for. He's looking at those keychains.
They mean you could give them to your kids, right? They can join in on the fun.
Someone said it was good for Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels.
Yes. Yeah. It actually adds swagger, so nobody knows. But yeah.
Exactly.
Little swag is good.
For the people that know, they know, right? So you have that attached maybe to your backpack on a key ring, right? You're walking through an airport and somebody sees it and goes, "Hey, is that what I think it is?" And you're like, "Yeah, you're obviously a very cultured person, right? We're on, we're on the same page."
Well, and the cool part about that particular foam cannon, that's actually made in Italy.
Yeah.
And that is from our president, Aaron Lindholm. He said, "I want to have something that is unlike any other that people will know where they got this and what it is."
Yep.
This is more recognizable. People actually call foam cannons MTM because they think that every one of them is an MTM, but they're not, I can promise you, based on performance. But yeah, these particular items, they've been a lot of fun for us, and when you see us at trade shows, we usually have some to give away.
So
that's good flattery right there.
So we have Gabe Garcia, right, who's been running this show.
Wow, it's like he's in the building somewhere.
It's like he's doing a but you know what? That guy, he nerds out over this stuff so hardcore. This is his favorite thing, right? Is to be able to figure out how things go together and how things work. So he's asking, does the mount piece detach from the real piece for easy installation?
Good question. Unfortunately, no, it does not. What you'd want to do is, we actually, in the instructions, what you're going to have is, it shows you where to mount on studs. It also shows you that you typically want to mount it to a bracket, whether it's 1/2 inch plywood, 3/4 plywood. We have a video out there showing you how to do it. But hold it up to the bracket, make your 4 holes. They're, I believe, 3 3/8 inches apart. It's a perfect square.
Okay.
So make your 4 holes. And then you want to use 7/16 hardware. And drill your holes, put it up, and then nuts and bolts.
Okay. So would you recommend, so for example, at my house, I have the shelf, right? I got the stainless shelf. I got the Karcher cube sitting on top of that, right? So if I were to mount this below or above, would you recommend throwing on the plywood onto my drywall, even if I'm near a stud, just to prevent any drywall issue? How would you go about doing that? Basically, I got drywall and potential, maybe I might have a stud there. I don't know.
Yeah, so the graphic that was created literally shows it's got a big X through. You're only going to hit one stud because these are too far apart, right?
Okay.
So you want to make sure that your plywood that you're mounting is, well, at least 16 inches, because you're going to hit your plywood on both sides in different studs, and then this would potentially just be mounted in the middle. But if you've got a stainless steel plate, you can always mount it. You can mount it below, you can mount it sideways, or you can mount it on top.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Okay. Very cool.
Just make sure it's mounted.
Yeah, and that's where I was just kind of curious, because I just don't know. I mean, and do most people, if they do the plywood, are they painting the plywood? Do they make it look sexy in some way, shape, or form, right? I mean, I don't know. I just think, like, okay, I don't want just a piece of plywood, so I'd probably imagine I would probably paint it.
They usually go black.
Yeah, go black. Oh, yeah, that's actually a good point. And see, that's
so it kind of blends in, and you got this gray that pops right off of it.
That's why I have you guys here, because
it's like a component.
Yeah. That's why I have you guys here. That you guys give me the ideas. Okay, cool. And so we have Ricardo asking, are all the connections in quick disconnects SST or zinc plated?
So I'm assuming he means by SST stainless steel. I'm not sure which product.
Every fitting here on this table is stainless steel. We do offer zinc plated and brass.
Okay, very cool.
Excellent. And then I've got Matt here with a question about hoses rusting on the inside. If you leave water in them, do you recommend clearing them out with air after each use?
Yes, you should. If you have the capability to do it, definitely. There's a difference between hose reels. So, and we're actually looking at something, I won't even talk anymore about it, but there's what's called a wet pipe and basically a hose pipe. And so there are two variations where in one style of a hose reel, you've got a hose inside your pipe. And in this case, it's actually a wet pipe. If it's not treated or you have really hard water, what can happen is that you can get rust buildup. It doesn't happen all the time, but I do see it. Hoses, because there's a liner inside here, they do not rust. Cannot rust.
Okay. Very interesting.
If you have rust in your line, it's from something else where it's touching metal. It could be the end of your fittings. If you've got other
pipes in your house.
Yeah, it could be pipes in the house. Could be your hose spigot. It could be you've got plated steel on your CR spotless, which by the way, CR spotless is awesome, but just so everybody knows, DI and RO water is extremely corrosive compared to just standard neutral water.
Is it really?
Yes. It is. It shortens the life of almost all your products.
I did not know that, right? Shortens life, doesn't leave water spots, which is fantastic, right? But that was going to be my next question, because because I mean, there's places around the country that have extremely hard water, right? I'm talking
Yeah,
like,
Southern California, Tucson to Phoenix, those guys have some of the hardest water, and it can be really tough to work with. So Ciara it's a necessity in a lot of these cases, but like I said, it does shorten the life of your valves inside of your gun. Any actuating parts you're going to see that could shorten the life. Now with our stuff, you're talking instead of 5 years, it'll last 4.
Okay.
But
all right. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not like end of the world scenario here. You're gonna be okay, but
yeah. So what have I done? I bought the nice TR spotless, right? Because I didn't want the water spots. And okay. So yeah, if I guess if my SGS 28, goes from lasting me, 5 years to 4 months, or to 4 years and 8 months, then I'll live.
You'll be okay.
But I think a lot of people weren't aware of that, so that's a fun tidbit there for everybody. So
absolutely.
Good to know.
Dean, what do we got next?
Ricardo had another one here. Do you also offer an SST 90-degree swivel that connects the pressure washer hose to the reel instead of the brass 90-degree swivel?
Ricardo, we are actually working on that as you speak.
Okay.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Then I got a whole bunch of comments.
He's the one talking.
Oh yeah, he's the one talking. We're all saying too much.
Sneaky.
I've got BB Dave here saying he wants to see a demo of the Mezzo. I was curious about the balance when handling it.
I think we got one
Which
here.
one does he like?
Oh, look at that.
I mean, there's 2 different mezzos. I mean, so we'll go over both real quick. I'll let
Sure.
Mike go
Yeah,
over
you want to kind of give a overview.
Okay, so I'll tell you super quick. I'm not sure how much time we have left here, but this is the Mezzo Toro. This was developed with and for a company called Chemex out east. He's actually your customer, is that right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So Bob Hoyle?
Yep.
And so what they do is they run a 2-stage wash system where they use an alkaline and an acid. What they do is they hit it with their, the acid first, and then they neutralize? Yep. And so when they do it, their chemicals actually match the blue and the red, which is why these are on here. But it also can be used as water on this side or foam on this side. And this was made so that you can mount your gun to your Mezzo and use it shorthand. Now, unless you're doing a 2-stage wash, you're probably not going to use the Toro version. But the single version,
This is going to be a lifesaver for every mobile detailer out there. The reason why I say that is you hook up a foam cannon. We'll use our keychain again right here. You hook your foam cannon up right here. You foam you push
Not
blue
to
in
scale.
to foam it, and then you push red over to rinse. This is a lifesaver because it saves your quick connects right here and up here for those spray tips. So basically, if you were going to go like this and then replace it with a spray tip or foam cannon, so you're going to have to like put the tip in your mouth, your back pocket, you're trying to find it.
Yeah.
It reduces the risk of hitting it, shooting it in your car, wearing out the O-rings.
It just reduces the amount of work too.
Yeah, that too. I mean, but it also just does not shut them down. Shut them down while they're on the job site. I mean, it's critical.
We have a really cool video that we shot this past summer. My boy KT back in Minnesota hooked us up with a Porsche that we did a single Mezzo kit, a single Mezzo video on. And this is customer testimonial, no leading questions. This guy was skeptical, and he ended up really, really enjoying the product. So I encourage you. That's on our YouTube page, but.
Awesome.
We don't have time to test it here today, otherwise I would. But.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much. Seriously, you guys absolutely killed it. This is such great information. I'm sure many people are going to come back, rewatch this just to get a good idea on how to get started. I know people are going to be stoked on the hose reel, stoked on the hoses, as well as the Alkaline gun. Thank you guys so much for
Dane,
coming out.
let's cut the comments right now, just so, because if someone was counting.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's a little bit of a delay on the video feed, so some people may see us talking here and like leave a comment, and it'll be later, but we'll make sure we find the right point at which it cuts off on the video, and I'll mark that as the official end of the comments, and we'll get the count there.
Yeah, the second we pass it on, we'll cut it there.
Yeah,
so
that'll be the official moment.
With that said, where can they find Veloci at?
So Veloci is going to be at vppdealers.com. We're the exclusive importer for all things MTM Hydro.
Okay.
And you might be coming in contact if you're a dealer or just calling in with Derek or a member of our sales team.
Very cool. And you can check them out on Instagram. You can check them out on Facebook. You can check out their website, all their social media channels. They have tons of great information on there. And they have a fantastic customer service team that's ready to answer questions to get you set up for all of your pressure washing, detailing, commercial needs. So with that said, we got somebody that's hungry over there in the white room, hungry for some trim. And so I'm going to pass it over to Levi and our very other special guest.
Well, thank you guys for that gracious introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, this man needs no introduction. I don't think so. Mr. Chris West of Solution Finish. How are you, my friend?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. So I wanted to just recap real quick, let customers know what Solution Finish is and how it got started.
Well, how I got started is kind of interesting. I was in construction development my whole life, and I built, owned, and operated coin-operated car washes for 6-7 years. And during that time, everybody would always ask me what they should use for their trim. And I'd give them the old hacks, linseed oil, liquid copy machine, silicone, peanut butter oil, and then years later and I always had this idea, but then years later, real estate got slow. I spent 6 months in my garage trying to perfect an idea I had through all those years. And, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not as smart as some people, so I read thousands of pages on plastic and manufacturing of plastic, how it oxidizes, how it degenerates, and I just kind of reversed it because I wanted Solution Finish to do 3 things. I wanted to be able to dissolve the oxidation, that's the solvent part of it. I wanted it to be able to draw the colorant back into the part being treated, but then just as important, it had to be a dry matte finish. I didn't want that wet, oily, wet look shine that collects dust like all the silicone-based dressings still do, you know. And Solution Finish is on its 3rd generation of formulation. I don't say new and improved, you know, just got to stay ahead of the competition because, quite frankly, the silicone-based dressings definitely have their place, but they're a dressing. Mine's a trim restorer. So even though some of the guys now have no problem putting Indian ink in their dressing, shaking it up and calling it a trim restorer, but nevertheless, Solution Finish still does those 3 things. Dissolves the oxidations, put the colorant back into the part being treated, and then with antioxidants and light stabilizers gives it added UV protection.
I've been using it for years, and I swear by it. If you haven't tried it, you got to try it, you got to pick it up, you got to use it. And for those of you that have been using it for years, you guys know exactly, you only ever speak the truth. Like that's the crazy thing. But we've got some stuff back here. We're going to show you guys on this razor hood that has been very well used. It started to fade a little bit, but the owner of it just had it rewrapped. And he was talking about, God, I really wish the plastics, I could get it looking good again. And we thought this is perfect.
That's the goal. We want it to look like new plastic or well-maintained plastic, not look like it's been anything's been applied to it. You know, and on something like this, you really do want something that's dry, and it's not going to collect all the dust. You know, it's going to get dusty, but the whole thing is going to get dusty.
Well, and you'll be able to wash it, and it's not going to wash off. That's the biggest thing. So why don't we head over here so everybody can kind of see what we're doing, and we'll get a camera operator over here so we can see what's going on.
Cool.
That way we can get there. So we've put a tape, if I can get a camera on me.
There you go.
Here. So we've got a tape line that we put on the hood here so everybody can kind of see. So this is, you know, like I was saying, it's normal plastic. So as you can see, we haven't already started it on it, but you can see where it's starting to fade up here already on the surface.
And technically, really, it's not real bad. And one kind of unique thing about Solution Finish is the worse it's oxidized, the older it is, the better Solution Finish is going to take. Because when it does oxidize, it burns out microscopic pores in the plastic. And Solution Finish can draw deeper into the plastic. Something like this, which is very smooth, untextured plastic, is something that I spend a lot of time on the formalization to have it work just as well on this. Solution Finish is easy to use. Let me go over this real quick. Solution Finish comes in technically 2 sizes. It's got the 1 ounce individual size, which will do 2, if it's used properly, 2 or 3 passenger vehicles.
You don't need, a little bit goes a long way with.
So on something like this, it'd be bumper, mirrors and a window cowl.
Yeah.
You know, the 12-ounce Pro size will do 30 to 36 cars. The thing with solution finish, more is not better. What you want to do is, and there's 3 steps, and one of the most important steps is vigorously shake the bottle.
Yeah.
We want the modified carbon to be thoroughly mixed. I put a little steel ball bearing in there, so you got a little shaker ball. Another thing we have is a little orifice reducer on the top. So if you knock it over just a little bit, it's going to spill out, and you're not going to make a mess on somebody's driveway. If it gets on the paint, you can wipe it off. Gets on glass, wipe it off. Chrome. It only works on what it's supposed to.
Okay.
So vigorously shake it. Apply a small amount on your microfiber applicator. I always put the cap back on.
Yeah, I'll hold that.
And then all you're going to do is apply it to the part you want treated. This is not a complicated process. Now, typically, I would, as an instruction, say you want to prep it with alcohol.
Right.
70–90% is good, but all that's doing is not cleaning the plastic. You're just breaking down any possibly
maybe oils or waxes.
Yeah, and previously applied silicone, that type of thing. But with solution finish, the most important thing is that it's being applied on a dry surface. You don't want to wash your car and then immediately apply solution finish. Give it some time. So as you see, all I'm doing is wiping the part. Step 1, shake it vigorously, apply it, and then the third step is you want to wipe off the excess surface oil. You don't leave it on. Some guys will leave it on because it's so black and it looks so good,
right.
But you don't want to do that. If you feel like it needs another coat, solution finish doesn't mill build. It doesn't stack on top of each other. So if you apply it, what I recommend is wait a week, then reapply it, and it will bond to itself real good. So here we go. We applied it to the part. Wipe off the excess surface oil so it's a dry to the touch.
Yeah.
And like I said, this isn't really in terrible shape, but you should still be able to see the difference in the camera there.
Well, and what's neat, what a lot of people don't know is that this has really, you've restored the plastic, so it almost provides its own protection that literally lasts.
Right.
For, I'm getting almost 2 years in many cases before you have to reapply on some of these plastics. And that's a really great thing for your customers is you can get this done on their car. Sell it as a actual trim restoration, and this is dry to the touch. You don't have to worry about them walking by and bumping their pants or something and getting it on there because it is dry. Now, let's say you want to protect it. Everybody wants to coat it. Everybody wants to do something to it. There's a reason behind your madness.
Right. The professionals can't help themselves, and what they've been doing is applying solution finish, restoring the plastic, vinyl, and rubber. Then what they do is they put a ceramic coating, paint coating, trim coating over the top of it, which is it gives it, added durability and longevity, and it really enhances its ability to not to oxidize. There's a problem with it though. Once the coating oxidizes and starts turning, discoloring, you have forever locked out solution finish's ability to be reapplied and absorb into the
You've basically closed all those pores off, and it can't repenetrate when you go to do a second coat.
On paint it's easy. They buff it off, they start over, panel wipe, and reapply it. On plastic, especially on porous, textured plastic, you don't have the ability to get it all off. Now I can with certain solvents, but you don't want to be doing that on customers' cars. Nobody's going to spend, no detailer is going to spend 9 hours stripping down a Honda Element. So what I did is, it took me years, because I'm not as smart as some people, but I came up with over the top, and we call it over-the-top plastic sealer because that's what it is. It's designed to go over the top of solution finish, but just as importantly, solution finish can go back over the top of the plastic sealer when you want to refresh the paint. And this is very simple. You use a foam pad and just get it wet. You're just wiping it down and letting it dry. I like 2 coats. Yeah. It's not going to streak. It's self-leveling. So if you got little streaks in it, it dries flat. Little bubbles, it will still dry flat. But it's the claim to fame with Over the Top now is it's extremely good on new plastic. Yeah. Because see, new plastic doesn't have any pores. Correct. So you put solution finish over the top of new plastic, and it's just going to be a dressing over the top because it's not absorbing. Now you can take your new car, apply this, and it gives it a little sheen that solution finish doesn't provide. Yeah. Solution finish, we want it to be a dry matte finish, so it looks like it came out of the factory. With this, it gives just a little pop to it, you know, just nice enough. So, and a 4-ounce bottle, I have no clue of how many cars it can do. You know, it goes. Depends on the vehicle. Depends on the amount you're and it goes a long way. Yeah. You know, I just looked over and I saw my black bottle here. It's worth mentioning that from time to time, depending on the distributor, the vendor that you're buying solution finish from, will come with a white, like this guy, white or black bottle. Yeah. So it's all the same formula. It's not a knockoff. It's just the way we do it, and we have all reasons, but it's not important. Right. Black or white bottle. Same thing with the 1-ounce individual size. White or black bottle is the same thing. Yeah, well, and then you've also got Fusion Gray for gray plastics. Yeah, why? Because we are getting those. I had a bottle. I thought I pulled it out. I'm sorry. No, that's okay. But we have, there is Fusion Gray. We do carry all of the solution finish. So Fusion Gray, of course, the black, and Over the Top. You can pick all those up to 20% off today, which is even better. And but you're right that there's so many folks that don't think about, we're going to restore the plastic and then, oh, I'm going to protect it by putting that ceramic coating, when all they have to do is put this back on it. You're protecting that exterior plastic for a number of years, and even a restored solution finish plastic in 2-3 years, hot sun, still going to look better than a fully untreated plastic, because you're not going to have to put that much more back into it. And that's what a lot of guys don't think about that, and it's the longevity of the product. The funny thing about silicone products is that you can have new plastic and apply your silicone dressing through the whole time you have the car. As soon as you stop, that part's going to oxidize like you've never had anything applied to it. Correct. It's oxidizing, but because it's wet with the silicone, you can't see it. Solution finish, you start applying it right when it starts turning like this, and you're going to be able to maintain this look through the entire time you have the vehicle. It's really pretty incredible. The antioxidants and light stabilizers I was able to incorporate gives it UV protection. It's like sunscreen for your plastic, and nobody else comes close to having that. You know? Awesome. Well, let's see. Dane, do you got any questions for Chris and I? We'll go back over here. So okay, there you go. Through the TV. Hey.
Well, hey there. I got Luke Berge, who's in the other room, asking if Solution Finish could restore his future. I'm not so sure about that.
Can Solution Finish restore his future?
Luke, you are so out of luck.
He's out of line. Yeah. Jacob here, though. Can Solution Finish be used on faded interior plastics? He had a convertible the other day, and the plastics were totally sun-faded.
So Jacob Terry saying, can Solution Finish be used on faded interior plastics? Had a convertible in the other day that the plastics were sun-faded.
I always advertise Solution Finish as being an exterior product.
Correct.
Reason being is because I live in California, and with all the different EPA laws and VOCs, closed space, but the main reason you got to be careful on the interior. Is, let's say if you put it on a your center console or door card and you haven't followed the instructions properly by buffing off all the excess,
Right, correct.
and make sure it's dry before you start rubbing it and sweating on in a vehicle. Which brings me back to the over-the-top plastic sealer. Once you apply solution finish and you do everything properly, wipe it off, let it dry.
Follow the directions.
And then apply over the top, that locks it in and keeps it from any transfer.
That's good.
You
That's
know,
good to know.
So the answer to your question, yes, vinyl tops, convertibles, it's not meant for it, it just works really good on it.
Yeah.
Rubber,
That's
vinyl,
fair.
and plastic.
there you go.
Sure.
All
And
right.
this kind of ties the same into that, where Todd's asking if it'd be good for like door card kick panels, that kind
The
of thing.
door
for
card kick panels
protecting 'em.
from being scuffed.
No.
Over the
Nope.
top,
You know, because
specifically.
it's a restorer, but it doesn't give it any added strength to
Yeah.
the part. So
There we go. And then Kevin saying how many times or how much time should we wait between coats of over the top? Thanks, you guys are awesome as always. So
yeah,
basically till it dries, right? Because you're
Well-
you're putting a coat on and you're letting it dry.
it's kind of interesting how it works, and I've seen it a million times. Let's say you apply solution finish, let it dry, and apply 1 or 2 coats every time it dries. You don't get any. You might get a little darker, but you don't get it added durability out of it.
Okay. And then
If-
with over the top.
Yeah, over the top will give it a longevity above and beyond the normal life cycle. But if you put on solution finish and let it wait 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then apply another coat, for some reason it bonds differently than putting it on top of each other in the same day.
There you go.
And that will give you added benefit.
So
And there's my last one there.
spend a couple weeks before, like do the solution finish, let it dry for at least a week or 2 before you reapply a second coat. But with over the top, you can apply it right after you've wiped it.
Correct.
But again, same kind of rule apply. Wait at least another week. Let it really do its thing before you put an additional
Right,
coat.
right.
Because otherwise you're just chasing
What do we
each
got
other.
here?
So
All right,
JB
this
is
one
my
says-
last one here.
JB, last question. Do you have a solution finish product to use on gloss black plastic pillars on a Mercedes, or is that something that has to be polished out? No, JB, that has to be polished, and that's technically not even a clear coat.
No,
they
no,
actually use like some sort of a light urethane that they put on there that is just not, it's not a really great, great
It
thing
sucks.
to have.
Once in a while, you get a B pillar, a pillar that doesn't have that plastic cap on it, the plastic coating,
Yeah.
right? But you're saying it exactly
The
right.
piano black doesn't.
The guy's got to make it, machine it, or hand polish it in a way.
Machine it. I've always said if you get a car like that, PPF it, PPF those panels, ceramic coat those, whatever you need to do, or just take them off and go get them actually clear coated properly with real automotive clear with UV inhibitors and all that stuff, and then put them back on, then PPF them, and then do all that, because then you're never going to have to worry about
There's
them.
smudge and scratch magnets.
That's
like,
right, and
it's
smudge
bad.
and scratch magnets. Yep. So, all right. Well, thank you, Chris.
Yay.
Appreciate it as always, my brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you
the
for
best.
coming here, and make sure you guys pick up Solution Finish today. You can get it on the website, and don't forget to pick up a challenge coin.
Yes.
The PNS challenge coin going to a great cause, Samburu Project, providing clean water in Africa, and we're going over here to Justin Pate from the Rap Institute next.
I'm Justin Pate from the Rap Institute, and it's a big honor to be here for this event. I'm actually teaching a workshop in another building at the Rag Company, so very exciting day. And what I'll be doing in this demo, obviously, is wrapping. And what's interesting in the industry right now in terms of wrapping is there's a lot of people who know how to wrap, color change, digital, and they're starting to learn how to do ceramic coatings, detailing. And for a lot of you watching right now, most of you are detailers who don't know how to wrap. So I want to show you that you can actually learn how to wrap something very straightforward like a hood, add some stripes on it, and then put some ceramic coating on it. And for me, it's extremely profitable, big, big win. So if you combine the two, wrapping and detailing, for me, it's a winning formula. So that's definitely what I want to focus on in this. So what I'll be doing is first wrapping the hood with green gloss film. Then I'll be putting custom stripes on it, and I'll be doing it by hand using Knifeless Tape, so great tips and tricks there. Then I'll be finishing with the ceramic coating on top. So we'll get into that, and I'll just walk you through the process as we started. So what I'll do, what I did in terms of prep and getting the hood ready is clean the car, clay barred it, got it all nice and smooth, then degreased it. Now what's interesting about the wrap film today is wrap film is very high performance where you're moving around the vehicle, but what it can do sometimes on hoods is on the high points, like on the body lines, it can, when you pull the material across it, it can make the adhesive roll off and create what's called sanding. So what we did right now is we put actually slip solution, which can be a combination of either just a little bit of baby shampoo or a slip solution, just kind of just like something just like slippery and slidey. And you put this on the body lines and you let it dry, and what that does is it creates a low surface energy, so when it pulls over the body lines, you don't get those dots, but obviously very important to degrease the edges because that's where you're wrapping the film. In terms of prep, you need the right tools, and especially if you're a detailer today, what's great about wrapping, let's say, a hood and stripes, you don't need much. You just need a knife, and you need a safe box because you want to be able to click your blade so it's extra sharp. Then you just need a tool belt to have everything in it. You need a safety cutter, so when I'm trimming the panels, let's say around the hood right now, I don't want to cut the hood, especially you can do that with a knife. You need a marker, and this is for stripes mainly, and then a squeegee with a buffer and a heat gun, so you don't need much. What I like to talk about with color change, and anything in life, you know, I think wrapping is all about tension. You have to manage tension. What's great about color change is I like to have the hood open so it's easy for me to wrap the material around the edge. So what I did is just a very easy solution. Took the core tube from an old roll, and what you can do with an old tube is you can put it right here and you can lock it right there. The hood is open, you can breathe, and it allows you to wrap super fast. But the price you pay for doing that is now the top corners of the hood go up here, so it's hard to get into. So I put some masking tape there to lower the surface energy, and good to go. So based on that, in terms of prep, now the hood's clean. I got my material ready to go, got the heat gun, nice workspace temperature. I'm going to wrap the hood. So what I'll do here on this dry erase markers, let's see how long it takes me to wrap a hood so you get an idea of the flow. So I click it to there, and the clock has started, kind of like a contest. So get the material here, take it up, drop it like it's hot, and the biggest thing you want to do is you always want to have extra material to work with. You don't want to have too little material because it can make it a little stressful. So right here I lock it on the side, so now it's in the right position. And to be safe, because there's always a chance of cutting this panel short, what I try to teach in the workshops now is take a dry erase marker, and I mark this basically like roughly, let's say 3 inches from where I want to trim the panel. So I trim it up to here, and I come over here now, and I'm going to do the exact same. Because like for example right now my phone is there, I got the top of the car there, and I want to make sure that A, I don't come up short, but B, that I don't cut anything. So this is when I want to use a tool like this, so the blade is encapsulated inside the plastic, which is cool. And I'm just going to basically open it up and trim it across the top. Because everything I try to teach on the Wrap Institute and in the workshops that I teach, in this case, let's say for Avery Dennison, is I try to teach doing things correctly, being smart. Don't just kind of cut corners or try to work fast. You always want to be super smart. Not only when trimming the film, but trimming the film with the liner on. So in this case, I trimmed it with the backing paper on, which means that I can save it. What can I save it for is, let's say wrapping the mirrors or door handles. So this material is very valuable, so always save it with the backing paper on. Once everything's set, you always have to think about dirt, no different than when you're detailing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to release the liner, but I'm going to release the liner underneath the material. So by doing this now, I don't expose the adhesive to dust, which is really important, and I can lay the material flat. I always take the back paper and I put it underneath the car, but I think my mic came down. So Dave is pointing at my mic, and I should put my mic back on the tape. Technical issue. But the masking tape is, get some tape. Or I could put this in my nose. Does it work in your nose at all? No? It does. It does work in your nose.
You lost your tape.
I lost my tape. How does that look?
Well, you got a little blue stripe. You'll be all right.
I like blue stripes. That looks pretty cool. I should rock that more often. So we're good?
You're good.
Keep on flowing. Okay. So right now I took off the backing paper, and the material's laying on the hood nice and even. Backing paper's under the car, so it's super safe. And now you have to do what I call reading the wrinkles. But you also have to think about those dots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to relax the material as much as I can and just let it sit on the hood. So I'm just kind of getting a good read, and I'm not pulling too hard. I'm trying to create what I call glass. Now that with wrapping, I talked about tension. Now when you're wrapping the material, if the material has wrinkles, that's indication that it has tension. Tension is not good on anything, especially when you're wrapping. So by picking it up and kind of evening out the material, I'm just letting it kind of relax onto the hood. Now I'm good. So it has no tension. So what I can do now is, what's very important, especially for your wrappers today who are wrapping, who do have some experience, is to avoid those dots. Not only did we put a nice little coating on the body lines right now, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeegee the body lines first. So I put on my application glove, and this is a nice slip solution as I mentioned earlier. So this has soap and water in it. I'm actually going to spray my glove a little bit, and normally what people are taught is to squeegee the flat first, then do the recessed areas. But what I do is quite different. I'm actually going to squeegee the body lines first because I have very minimal wrinkles. And by locking on the body lines first, what that allows me to do is avoid those dots, which is great. And by having soap and water on my glove, the glove slides and glides right to there. And I come back up to here, and I tack it on this body line right to here. So far now, the body lines from the outside to the inside are done. Now what I'm going to do is a technique that I developed, and I came out with this in 2016, was called the palm. Is I'm going to take my hand now, and I'm going to form the film into the recessed areas first. And by forming the film into the recessed areas first, what that avoids is, it avoids any kind of adhesive lines. So oftentimes, when you form the film into recessed areas now, you're going to get adhesive lines, which obviously lower quality. So by doing that, doing the recessed areas first, I can now take my squeegee, and I could just squeegee the material onto the main surface area. Very easy and straightforward. So the material today, in this case I'm using Avery Dennison's color change film, is super easy to install. But the art is doing it without getting adhesive lines. And if you get bubbles, you can simply press them away. So once I've done one side, I'll come back and do the other. And do the recessed area here, form the film in, because see how it conforms there nice and easy. And I don't have to use heat. Because I don't have to use heat, it makes me faster. So you always want to make sure you get good color change film. Once I do the recessed areas, I can now do the flat. Super easy, fast, short squeegee strokes. And I'm getting good high quality without having to take too long, which is the art of wrapping. Once I've done the recessed areas now, I can do the middle. So here you can see me leaning over the hood, which there's a potential I might get dirt or scratch it. So to make it easier for me, I separate the middle section into one area, and then I just squeegee this down here. So you can see that there's not a lot of tension in my workflow because I have a good system and I have good tools. So I come back over here, squeegee from the front, and then all the way to the top. So far we're at 5 minutes and 51 seconds, so almost 6 minutes now, and I got most of the hood on. So everything's done from here to there. Now I have this section here, so watch what I do. I'm going to pull from this body line, and I pull to the corner, and I'm going to hook the corner like I'm making a bed. I lock this in. I come over here, and I have another corner. I'm going to pick it up high, lock this down, because you always want to do the corners first, and then I lock it into this body line. So from here now, I'm going to squeegee from this section here up to the body line, because I don't have wrinkles. Then I can squeegee this area down nice and straightforward. So very easy squeegee strokes. Double check it to here. I see some tension, which I then can pull to the back side here and squeegee this down. Very easy. Once this is done now, I do what I call reading the wrinkles. You always want to look for tension. So right now, I see tension building up, not here, but I see tension here, 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 and I especially see tension right there. So one thing I have is a technique that I call triangles. Triangles is my way of getting that tension out. So before I start doing triangles, I look where there's also tension. Right now I'm getting tension on the fender. Because I'm not wrapping the fender, I'm going to make what I call a relief cut. By making a relief cut now, I can relax the material to the outside without having to put a lot of my own tension in there. That takes a lot of tension here. Now I can do triangles here. I'm going to take the material, spread the material out, and I spread it to the edge, and I hook the corner. And by hooking the corner now, all the tension evens out, and now with one squeegee stroke, I can actually squeegee this onto the surface without getting adhesive lines. So I'm always working from body line to the outside. Same thing here. I have a technique that I also call the shimmy. Right now there's a lot of tension here, and if I pull the tension, it still stays. But if I take the tension and I shake it back and forth, the tension disappears. So I kind of liken that to being like having like a massage chair. If you sit in a massage chair and it shakes you back and forth, you relax. And in many ways, the material is just like a person. It likes to be kind of relaxed. It's the same thing here. I have the body line. I pick up the material to the body line. I make a bed by hooking the corner first, locking it in. I want to hook this corner now, so I pick it up, make a bed, and I pull to the body line. And if I pull to the body line, I have, basically at this point, I have glass. By having glass now, I can run it on the body line to here. And you see that now, I'm starting to wrap with a system. I'm wrapping this side just like I wrapped the other side. And the reason why is the other side is, and this side are exactly the same. What I do is I double check here, everything looks good. I see tension, I make a relief cut, I pick it up and I pull to the corner, lock it down. I know that I have another corner right to here, so I pull the material, spread it down, and you can see by pulling to the corners, look how much tension evenly distributes, and then you wrap it there. And then here, same thing, shimmy. I pick the material up and I shake it to the side, which allows me to spread it to the edge, and I lock it down, boom. And by locking it down now, instead of squeegeeing in strokes like that, I can squeegee in big giant strokes like that, cool. So in just a matter of 9 minutes now, I've got the material on the hood, and what I want to do is I want to run my finger on all the edges, and what I'm doing now, which is actually quite cool, is I'm running the material underneath the edge. By running the material underneath the edge, okay, I'm setting it up to wrap the edge for me. So I pick up the material, run it across, and I'm getting it to what's called knifeless tape, which I'll show in a second. I come over here, run my finger again. Right now, the material is touching the light, which is creating tension, which I don't want to leave that tension on the edge. So I pick the material up so I can relax it around the edge, which is cool, and then I take it to there. Same thing here. The material is touching the body, so I pick it up so I can relax it to the edge, so it's all set up for cutting. Final stage is I run my finger to there, and now all my edges are set up. It's what I call doing the 360. I started at one point and I did a 360 loop to set up the material, and now I need to relax it. So again, it's all about tension. So if I come over here now, I'm going to grab the heat gun. Now with the material that I'm putting on today is what's called a PVC based material. So as soon as you stretch the material, it wants to shrink. That's a good thing if you know about it. So right here, I see a lot of tension in the film. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this heat gun, and by adding film right now, or heat, to the film, what it does is it causes the film to shrink. And by shrinking now, it shrinks underneath the edge, which means there's no tension, which is great. So now by doing a 360 loop, awesome, I go from side to side, and I go up here, run my finger across to there. Now this side is relaxed. And because it's relaxed, it means that when I go to cut it, there'll be no tension there. So I come all the way across to here, hit it with heat, and you can see the material just kind of breathing and relaxing. And I liken it no different to, if you've had a long work day, what do you like to do? Come home, take a nice hot bath, chill out, drink a hot beer. No, I'm just joking. So you drink hot beers, but you know what I'm saying. So heat is good to relax. So now that I've set up my edges, I've relaxed my edges, now I'm ready to cut. One of the biggest things that I push on the Wrap Institute is efficiency. My job today is to do a color change. And my job is because I just want to make sure that when this hood is closed, you don't see the original color of the car from the outside. Because I've relaxed all the material, what you have to think about now is there's no tension on the edge, which means that I can cut the material flush to the edge and it's never going to lift. This saves me a huge amount of time. Now, a lot of installers, and what I'll be teaching in the workshop right after lunch today, is we're going to focus on cutting. And when we focus on cutting, I show the wrong way to do it, which is most installers will take this material and wrap under the hood like a ½ inch. At the end of the day, their edges look green, but that means that they took a lot of time and they put a lot of stress inside the edge. But for me, what I'm doing now is I'm cutting the material flush to the edge. And the reason why I can cut the material flush to the edge, and I'm using this plastic knife, this one comes from NT Cutter, is I can cut it flush because there's no tension there. And because I don't leave tension on the car, it allows me to save huge amounts of time. So now that I made this cut, I run my finger and it looks perfectly green without any wrinkles, and I seal the deal. Cool. And I'm a big fan of on the Wrap Institute, we talk about your workspace reflects your wrap. I'm not going to throw this trash on the floor. I'm going to leave this trash right here and come back and get it later. Once everything's set now, I now focus on this side. I run my finger on this side, and under here I have what's called knifeless tape. So I cut it away here, and this is a cool cut on the body right now. And by using knifeless tape now, I can pull the string all the way across, take it down, pull the excess film off, and take out the green tape. So there's actually a string underneath that tape which cuts the material for me, and then I can come in and seal the edge. And notice that when we took the hardware off, the hardware is actually going to go right to there. So when they put the hardware back on, it's going to be green, but I don't have to wrap all this, which saves me time. Speaking of time, I now do my corner up to here, and I'm going to cut straight on the edge again, and I angle my blade away from the edge at about a 30-degree angle. And by doing that now, when the customer sits in the car, they see green. And I'm going to do the same thing here, where I slow down on the corner, just like when you're driving, I hope. And I come down here and I'm going to cut right to the camera because that's a cool shot. But here I'm cutting at a weird angle. I feel it in my arm. I feel tension. And if I have tension in my arm, it might lead to a bad cut. So I switch it, just like if I'm playing sports, and I angle the cut down. And now this feels much better. I'm cutting to me. And by cutting to me right now, I can work in a nice flow. Once I make that cut, I come back in, seal the deal, and cool. I run my finger up, pull the excess film away, take this up to here, and done. Final stage, always want to finish strong, is I double check for bubbles. So I come in with my glove. Again, QC, no different than detailing. If you're doing ceramic coatings, you always want to make sure there's no high spots or low spots. Coming super focused, coming back on this side, double checking here. Only takes a few seconds to do QC, and now I'm done. Super cool. So even while talking right now, how long did this take? 14 minutes and 53 seconds to wrap and finish a hood. What? A little bit less. And Gabe says a little less, so let's do 13. I'll take that. Cool. So I got hood, 14 minutes and 13 seconds. Awesome. All right, I wrapped a hood. And hopefully if you've never seen a hood wrapped before, you think wrapping a hood is easy. And it is if you know how to do it correctly. So this is a good way to wrap hoods because I have no dots on here. Everything looks super smooth, great prep, great finishing, and it's going to hold. And if I shut the hood right now, it's going to look green. In fact, I am going to shut the hood. So I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to drop it like it's hot. Awesome. So for me right now, I have quality. If I look here, I see green. My corner game is strong, which is definitely something you want, and everything's good. So if a client wanted a green hood, have I just made some money? Yes. I think so. Cool. So the thing is though, and what we try to focus on the Wrap Institute right now though is, for here right now, my money is, it's okay. It's good money, wrapping a hood. And you can do it fast, which is great. But what I want to throw in the game right now, and this is what I love about wrapping, is I want to throw in custom stripes. Because if you throw in custom stripes right now, now you can really make money. So let's see if I have the skills to reset the timer, which I do. So customer comes in and says, I want a green hood, and I say, you know what, how would you like some stripes? And they say, sure, I'll take some stripes. And so for me, by being able to add stripes, I can actually double my price for the hood. Cool. But let's see how long it takes to do those stripes. So if you've never done stripes, you're going to see great tips and tricks. And if you've done stripes before, hopefully I can show you a different way to do it. So in this case right now, I've wrapped the car. And what I'm going to do is use a little detailer right now because I use some soap and water. I'm going to clean the hood. So what this is doing is removing any soap from my application glove. And from an event that I did earlier here at the Rag Company, we have some material left over. And we have Avery Dennison's Color Flow, which is really cool. So this material has multiple colors in it, and it looks super beautiful. Really cool stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, which is essentially a scrap, to make stripes. That's the beauty of having Knifeless Tape. So that's the color I'm going to put on top. So I'm going to show a very DIY way of making stripes. So I'm going to come over here. I got my masking tape, and the biggest thing you have to think about when you make stripes is finding the center point. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I have my dry erase marker, and I have my masking tape, and watch what I do. From this point right at the top, I'm going to pull the masking tape over, and I'm going to lock it right to there. Cool. And I'm going to mark it down. Then from this point, right here on the hood, I'm going to mark it from that little corner there. I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to eyeball it, and I'm going to come down right over there. Interesting. Then what I did earlier is I took my backing paper. So my backing paper is about 8 inches wide, just a random piece. And this is my template now, which I'm going to do this. I'm now going to come from this corner and mark it right there on the body line. And I'm going to come over here, mark it to here, and mark it on the body line. Cool. So this is a template piece that I'm going to save and use in a second. So from that now, and this is a great trick I learned from Phil Aquin, he's a trainer for 3M, he taught me this, and I think he got it from an old school pinstriper, is now I can take the masking tape to here, I can pull it nice and high over to this side, and I can line it up with the mark right here. Cool. So by doing that now, in this case, I'm going to mark it to here. In this case, I'm going to mark the masking tape to here, and then mark it to here. Because for me, I hate using a tape measure on a hood because a hood has so many curves going in different directions. I like to use a laser level right now, but sometimes that takes time and laser levels are expensive. So now, by using this masking tape, I can find my center point super quick because what I'm doing is I'm matching the mark from the other side and putting it here. So now I can pull this masking tape aside, and I'll come over and do the same thing. So I lock it in here, I take my masking tape, I find a mark, I slow down at the middle point so I don't lose it, I line it up right to this edge, and now I have my center point. Cool. Now I can take this off, take it to the side, and for me, I'm spending a little bit on masking tape, but I'm not having to take a tape measure and touch it on the hood. I can take my tape measure to here, take it back, and then mark it right to this body line here, and in just a matter of a few seconds, I have this. Cool. So now that I have everything prepped, let's start the clock. Cool. So I have my center point. That's it. How long did it take? A couple minutes, and now I'm ready to go. So now I'm going to take, and I can do narrow. So in this case today, I am going to do narrow because I'm lazy. No. I'm going to do narrow just for a different look, edgy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that masking tape to here, put it right in the middle of the mark there, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to eyeball it right to the middle. Cool. So the masking tape goes there, and I run my finger. So now the middle point is set, and now I'm going to come back in with knifeless tape right now, and this is what's called design line. So this is going to do the cutting for me, and it's going to cut directly on the surface. So we're ready to rock and roll. So I can take this now, and I put the knifeless tape, and I'm basically going to butt joint it to the masking tape all the way down. So, cool. It goes line up super symmetrical. Once one run is done, you always want to make sure you tap it, run your finger, and then I'm going to come over here and do the exact same thing. So, one thing I want to impress upon all of you watching, and especially the people in the workshop right now who are in the other building, is for me, wrapping the hood was fun. It's great, and it's very interesting to make a hood green. But one thing that I've always enjoyed about wrapping is the ability to customize. So right now, I told the customer I'm going to give you a green hood, which maybe there's some green Subarus like this on the market. But what I want to do is give you the car of your dreams. If I paint a car right now, I can make a car green, and it's okay. But if I wrap a car and I put stripes on it, or I do chrome deletes on it, or I tint the lights with Lux, and I do all sorts of great products, I can really give the customer a super magical experience. And what's great about it is it makes wrapping fun, but it also makes my pocketbook really fat, which is a great combination. If your job can feel like a hobby and you can make a lot of money from it, that is the name of the game. And that's definitely what we try to teach you on the Wrap Institute. So I tack it to here, tap, 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 and notice that I'm putting the knifeless tape just inside the dry erase marker. Come back to here, lock it to the top, again putting this on the inside. And again, by using the backing paper as my template now to create the symmetry, now everything's nice and uniform, and I have my stripes. So I have 4 runs of knifeless tape, top to bottom. I got the masking tape that I can take apart here, take this aside, and now you have the 4 stripes. So I have the center point, everything's good to go. And the piece that I'm putting on top in this case is the color flow, as I mentioned earlier, but it could also be carbon, You know, customers like carbon, they like all sorts of stuff. And right now, because I was working on here, I'm taking a few seconds to remove any specks of dust. So I got this set, everything's good to go. Awesome. So once I have this set now, notice that I have the material on the car. I don't have it laying around, I have it with a magnet here, which means that I can grab it and go straight to the car. Cool. So you get that high workflow. Now I have the material that has enough left to right, top to bottom. Because you always want to have extra material, watch what I do. I'm going to peel off the liner just for a second, lock it into here. I'm going to sneak in front of the camera guy. Come over here, tack it down. And I noticed that this piece that was cut is a little big. So instead of just wasting this and throwing in the trash, now I can cut it because I have enough material here. And what I can do with this piece is I can give it to Levi. And Levi can give it to his kids, and his kids can wrap a laptop. They can do anything. They can do anything. Same thing. Now I'm going to pull the liner a little bit, tack it on to here, and I'm going to pull the liner underneath the material, low and flat. One thing you want to do with knifeless tape is you try to want to avoid picking the material off the surface as much as possible. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to create glass atop. I lock it in right to here so it doesn't move, and watch what I do when I pull the liner. I get right in front of it down here. I come into here now, and I'm pulling the liner and I'm pulling the material as I pull the liner. I lock it to here, and then I pull it straight down, which allows me to create glass. And then the last stage right now is I can just pick it up really quick and pull it flat, pull it to the side. Awesome. Pull it to the side now, and I have glass. Super cool. One thing I try to talk about on the Wrap Institute is knowing your material. We actually just did a morning session with the Avery group right now, and I talked about surface energy. I talked about what you need to think about with the material. With this gloss material, I basically took my squeegee and went like this. That's because the gloss material is super robust and it's very durable. It self-heals really good if I get scratches. This color flow right now is a little fragile. So if I might get scratches on it. So what I'm going to do now is, I'll just do it here for the camera, is I'm going to spray my buffer. This is a great buffer, monkey strips. There's also banana buffers. By spraying this with a Glide solution right now, because the satin finish is a little fragile, what I'm going to do now is, by adding the soap and water, my squeegee glides across as normal, but there's no chance to scratch the film. And you can see the material breathing right there. Very easy and straightforward. You see the air building up, so I let the air escape. Watch out for wrinkles. Once this is down, I want to squeegee on top of the knifeless tape to make sure it's easy and straightforward. I squeegee down here, double check that the air can come out. Cool. Now this is done, I double check for bubbles. Cool. Now this is set, I can squeegee over here. And because the material is laying low and flat, and because I'm using a premium film, like let's say Avery in this case, which slides and glides, I don't get any bubbles. You can see the air kind of breathe. And look how easy this is to wrap once you have the material glassed out. Awesome. Then I squeegee up to here, and I squeegee down to here, get all the air out of that recessed area, and done. So now I know the material is locked in to the surface right now. Everything's good to go. But because I'm going to be pulling right now, I want to make sure the surface is dry. I don't want any water to get underneath the film, so I take a nice clean microfiber towel and I go from top to bottom. Now normally when you put stripes on a car, you do a plotted piece that comes from the plotter. It's like a 2D shape that goes on a curve. Why I like to use knifeless tape right now is, with knifeless tape, I can take the knifeless tape, it conforms to the curve, and then I can really make sure I make it straight, especially when you get to the front. So I pull the material to there, pull out both tabs of green in this case, pull it low and flat, and I immediately come back in and seal the deal. Material goes on the windshield now, because I want to look like a professional. I fold the stripe here, all the way down from front, top to front. Now I can pull this strip out and take this away. And I'm going to save that scrap just kind of as a hint for later. So I come over here, all my trash is going on the window. I'm going to get a good body position over here and just continue the process. So you can see by having a squeegee with a buffer, some masking tape, a marker, and all this stuff, you can easily stripe a hood. In this case, I'm at 7 minutes and 45 seconds, which is cool. And then the final stripe out here. So it's just 4 pulls, and now I got stripes. And now I created a custom experience for the client. material low and flat, and always want to finish strong. So in this case, I run a finger, set it up, run a finger to there. Awesome. What I can do with this stripe now is this stripe is straight. So sometimes I cut this a little thinner, and sometimes I can use this as custom striping on a mirror, for example. So if this was thinner, I could actually use these over top of, let's say, a green mirror, and I could take this and I could stretch it around and I can wrap the mirror if it's thinner. So you can use your scraps as accents as well, which is great. So that being said, I'm going to go back and trim this out. I'm going to trim it out to here, angle my blade away. Notice my freehand pulled the material nice and clean. I'm going to jump in front of the camera again, come back over here, trim this out on the back side. Again, my blade is running next to the car. My knife is touching the car. Come back and seal the deal. And if you notice here now, right here, so the material is, I didn't run knifeless tape again here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly cut on top of the surface by about 1/8 of an inch. So the bottom layer is kind of buffering my blade so I don't cut too deep. And by doing this now, I'll still get the coverage without having to run knifeless tape. And this goes under the hardware so you'll never see it. But what I like about the bottom layers is keeping my blade from cutting directly on the car. So that saves some time and material. And with that, what is my final prep? Double check the edges are sealed, make sure everything's good, cool. And now I think I can stop the clock. Cool. No mic problems, so this is legit. Awesome. So, no mic problems. So in this case now we can do what? 9:27. Cool. So in a matter of 9 minutes and 27 seconds, I could do a striping package from start to finish. So at this point, I am under 30 minutes, which is cool. So how much extra would a customer pay for stripes? You can actually make the same amount of money for doing the hood and the stripes. So I essentially doubled my money in less time. That's actually a great formula for business. So now that the hood's set right now, I could let the customer go out the door and they would be happy. I think they'd be very happy. But for me, my wife wouldn't be happy, my daughter wouldn't be happy because I'm not coming home with enough money. I need to come home with more money. How do I make more money? Know your products. So in this case, this is where the detailing comes in. So this is where the wrap industry is going to detailing and why you detailers should go to hoods and then come back to detailing, wrapping them. So at this point right now, this is going to get a lot of sun, a lot of wear and tear. What it's also going to get is a lot of moisture and humidity, or a lot of dew in the morning that's going to settle on the hood. And depending on where you live, a lot of maybe pollution is going to be in that moisture, and that's actually going to maybe burn the film. So this hood might not last very long. So if you explain that to the client, exactly what I just said, which is kind of sales, you can say, you know what would be really good on top of this is doing a ceramic coating, and they say how long this takes to do. So I'm going to reset the clock. Yes, and we got it set. And so the first thing I want to do, actually before I even put the ceramic on, is I want to come back in with a cleaner right now, and I want to clean the surface. So I really want to make sure the ceramic coating bites onto the surface. So clean it, and I don't want to make it too wet, but I really just want to go back over it like what I did earlier, especially on the satin that I have right here. Cool. And I go back and forth, top to bottom, very easy and straightforward, and done. So once this is prepped now, and again it only takes a few minutes, I can move on to the ceramic coating. So I'm going to get rid of my scraps here, and let's start the clock. Now, traditionally, what people have done to protect wraps is maybe a bit of little alcohol, soap and water. And why I think ceramic coating is particularly beneficial today is it holds on really well and it protects the good stuff in the vinyl. So what you have to think about with ceramic coating is, for me personally, I liken it to suntan lotion for cars. So in the sense that the vinyl manufacturer, in this case Avery, they put on tons of good stuff in the vinyl. And that stuff in the vinyl protects it from UV damage, kind of protects it from bird crap, all that kind of stuff, oil. And what you have to think about now is with that stuff in the vinyl, over time, the more you clean it, what's going to happen right now is as you clean it, good stuff gets taken out of the vinyl. And as you take the good stuff out of the vinyl, it's less prone to being able to withstand dirt, oil. So by adding ceramic coating, in my opinion, you're getting the benefits of ceramic coating and everything that comes with it. But for vinyl, what you're doing is you're keeping the good stuff that the manufacturer put in the vinyl from the at the beginning. So in a way, you're kind of sealing that into the surface, and that's for me the benefit of ceramic coating. So what I did is, if you noticed, I did a diagonal here, I did horizontal strokes overlapping, and then to finish, always want to do the crosshatch. So for me, what's great about this particular product and a lot of the products that are for vinyl is they don't flash super quick, so I have time. So by having time right now, okay, I can actually do half the hood in one shot. So always make sure that you're going to get a little extra on the side, so pay attention to that. I do my loop on the outside to here. Then once that's set now, you want to come in with one microfiber towel, fold it, and you always, of course, want to use a Rag Company microfiber towel, right? And what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of absorbing a lot of the excess right now, just easy, straightforward, over the top. Once that's set now, I'm going to leave this for the other side, and I'll come back in with another one. Make sure this one is for kind of polishing and leveling. So I flip it over to here. Now, what you have to appreciate, and this again, everything we do on the Wrap Institute is about business. Everything I teach in the workshop is wrapping should feel like a hobby. And if it feels like a hobby, you're doing it right, and you make money. If it feels like a job and you don't make much money, you're doing it wrong. So right now with the ceramic coating right now, it looks absolutely stunning and beautiful. And what you have to think about, and what I'm trying to point out is, right now I think I'm probably going to do the ceramic coating in less than 5 minutes, which is great. I'm going to reload it here. So I'll reload it a little bit more. But my point is, I think I could sell the ceramic coating for more than wrapping the hood and the stripe because of the benefits. And for me, it takes the least amount of time and it has the most upsell, which is actually pretty cool. Because for me, what ceramic coating does, not only on top of protecting the wrap and keeping the good stuff in, what ceramic coating does, especially if you do it right, is, you know, we talked about the surface not being 100% smooth, or I heard the conversation earlier in the last demo, is that the vinyl surface isn't like a window. It's not super tight surface. There's peaks and valleys. So what the peaks and valleys do with the ceramic coating is the ceramic coating fills those valleys with glass. So what that means is, for vinyl, it means that when you look at the wrap now with the ceramic coating, you basically have a mirror finish, which gives more depth to the film. It makes the wrap film look better. Otherwise, if you don't put this on, it looks kind of, you know, you get a kind of refracted light that comes off the wrap. But right now, by adding that ceramic coating, you get that mirror-like finish, and the wrap feels and looks like paint, which is pretty cool. So I come over here, drop this here. I'm going to absorb the moisture first. So this microfiber towel, you always want to rotate it so you don't build up too much product. And keep in mind that with the microfiber towels, if you've never done ceramic coating, these microfiber towels should not be reused, especially this first one, because it picks up so much glass. So right here, I take it off, place it here. Then I come back over with this bad boy, flip it over, or it's a bad girl, depending on how you call your tools. And I come back here now, and I'm buffing it off. And what I'm doing is, again, kind of like how I wrapped. I'm looking for bubbles and high points. But right now, you can see I have a perfect finish. Looks super amazing. And I'm going to stop the clock. Cool. So I just did a ceramic coating now. And how long? 4 minutes. 20 seconds. That's right, Levi. Cool. 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Awesome. So my goal was, my hope for this demo was to be able to wrap a hood, do stripes, and ceramic coating in under 30 minutes. Did I win? Did I succeed? Yes. I'm happy. Okay. To be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever done that. I've never done a striping package, wrapped a hood, done stripes, and a ceramic coating all at the same time. So this is my first time trying it. Cool. And I'm talking, hopefully, good information. I'm saying this because I've been wrapping for a long time. So did I make it look easy? Hopefully. Did I tell a good story about stress and tension? Cool. But the biggest thing is, wow, this is pretty cool. Imagine if I did this on a regular basis, how quickly could I do a hood stripe ceramic coating package real time? I think 20, 25 minutes. Easy. How many of these could I do a day? A lot. Awesome. For me, this is the power of wrap. It's super exciting. You know, this car has a gray paint job. Most cars today are gray, white, and black. Boring. How quickly can you transform a car? Well, if you have the right tips and tricks and techniques from the Wrap Institute, you can transform a car super quick. And that's what I'm teaching in the workshop today is people are taking 5 to 6 days to wrap this car green. Doesn't work. For me, with 2 installers, you can actually wrap this car green in a day and a half, add some stripes from front to back. We actually just had a video that came out on the Wrap Institute where we did a forged carbon striping kit from the front all the way to the back, and we did it in 17 minutes. How much can you charge for that? Well, I mean, to get just realistic, I mean, I think in most markets, if you did a forged carbon striping kit from front to back, you could charge around $1,200. And $1,200 for 17 hours of work, that's Levi money.
That's very good. I like that kind of money.
So now we have questions. Which
yeah, so as always, guys, you can leave your comments, questions. Let's get to them right now for Justin.
Joey
says, this is a phenomenal demo. I completely forgot I was working. That's probably not a good idea if you're watching this at work, if your office job.
But I expect to get questions.
But it's awesome that it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I expect to get questions, but in this case, there were almost no questions. Everybody just had their jaw on the floor. They were just blown away by how smoothly you make your way through everything, Justin. You make it look so easy. I saw one comment from a guy who clearly didn't know who Justin is. He's like, who is this guy? He makes it look so easy. And it's like, oh, you're about to learn. So speaking of learning, can you tell us a bit more about the Wrap Institute? I'll throw that one out there as just a gimme to Justin.
No, I appreciate that. The Wrap Institute is a company that I founded in 2014, and it's an online streaming platform, and it's basically, we call it the Wrapflix of the industry, so like Netflix. We come out with 4 to 5 new videos a week about color change, PPF, stripes, detailing. And for me, you get a monthly subscription or you can get an annual subscription. For those of you watching, you get a 15% discount. Hopefully the coupon code jumps on there soon, and that gives you a 15% off of 1 year. And we're really passionate about our slogan is never stop learning. And we always want to learn, kind of like what you guys do with your podcast and education, is always learning to do things better and faster and different. You know, there's many different ways to skin a cat, many different ways to roam, or to Boise, Idaho.
That's right.
Okay. And the idea is now we just want to help people get wrap better and faster. And I have a partner named Reiner and Lawrence in Europe. I have a great team with Marcos and Pascal and Gimas and stuff. And we have members throughout the world, almost 12,000 members. And I highly recommend you jumping on and learning, because for me, again, if you're doing detailing, you have to add this. If you're doing wraps, you have to add ceramic coating. And for me, it's the market right now. COVID with this industry, COVID didn't make this industry do this. It went like this.
Yeah.
And DIY, especially right now, especially with those stripes, is great.
Well, and the fact that guys have had to learn new ways. So like you're saying, it's now merging.
Yes.
And for years it never was like that. And now it is. So it's, if you've ever had questions or wanted to learn or had ideas, or at least, you know, wanted to get behind the Wrap Institute seriously, indispensable, because especially for those that have been in the game for a long time, you guys do stuff where, hey, we're going to show you how to do this bumper. This is a new car. We're going to show you how to do the bumper the right way, the fastest way. And for guys who've been in the industry, it's invaluable to have that, to have somebody show you, walk you through it, instead of having to get stuck on it all of a sudden at once on your own. And then the other thing that's going on, like you said, training. Right now at the Rag Company, we have an Avery Dennison training that Justin's hosting going on. How do they learn about those trainings around the country?
You can go to the Avery Dennison website. You can go also to my Instagram page, so Just Pay Rapper. My live link is to the Avery Dennison site. And it's just, you know, but again, you know, Avery Dennison's great. There are other workshop programs. What I like about Avery in particular is the material is particularly easy to put on, and you also get a free roll of film for taking the workshop, plus tools, so it's a great value. So I think a combination of taking a hands-on workshop and watching videos, and then just getting material to practice on your hood, practice on your wife's hood, practice on your mom's hood, whatever. Get your hoods down and then work up to those next stages. And you'll find that once you get the right techniques, and again, your workspace reflects your wrap. All my trash is here, nothing's on the floor. I look professional even though I'm not, and that's the whole game. So it's the idea of, like, you know, really finding that tune, but again, look at the rhythm. I mean, this for me just speaks volumes.
This is an add-on. When I had my shop, if I could have done this back then, this would have been indispensable and an easy way to add a revenue stream to the business that doesn't take hardly any time. You guys see the numbers right there. It's so easy to do, so simple to do, but like you said, it's being patient, learning your stuff, and being properly educated. You can get this done. It doesn't take a lot, but it really speaks for itself. Because this alone would cost basically what it would charge me to do 2 or 3 other detail cars, full details or interiors,
which is crazy,
which take way more time. But I could have thrown this in on top of that.
You're transforming the car.
Yeah, totally.
And I was going to say, I got a few more comments in here, actual questions and things like that. So I look forward to that, which is great. But I did want to point out, Justin, because you mentioned the code, I've actually had that pinned at the top of the comments the entire time you've been working. So made sure everybody was able to see that. And yes, take advantage of it, guys. You saw how good he is. I mean, do you need to say any more? That was a perfect demo. But yeah, let me pull up a few of these questions here. And apart from everybody just being totally blown away, I've got Jimmy. I can't handle how calm and relaxing he made that look.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Forced Induction is going to go back and watch a few more times, take notes. I know there's definitely some guys looking at adding this to their business. Now, Tony Maz here asking, how long before you need to remove the wrap before it becomes too difficult to remove? I've been listening while trying to remove staining from a roof wrap left on too long.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good, actually, the first part we just did with the workshop, and the workshop's watching the streaming event right now, and we just talked about warranties and understanding your film. So for me, again, if we do this by the book, if I'm going to be technical, This film from Avery, this gloss film, has a 2-year horizontal warranty in Boise, Idaho, which is great. So this will last 2 years. This satin film is Color Flow, actually has a 1-year horizontal warranty, so it's less.
Right.
But because I ceramic coated, I think I can maybe get 2 years out of this hood before I'm worried about it being difficult to remove. So therefore, what I just told the class is what I highly recommend is when I do a color change or even this hood wrap, what I tell the client is, look, in 6 months, you're going to get a notice from me. It says, come back, we'll take your hood off. 3 months, take your hood off. 1 month, take your hood off. If you come back within that time, I'm going to take your hood off for X amount. If you go past the warranty, I'm going to have to charge you a lot because it's going to be difficult to take off.
There you go.
So you always have to manage warranty. It's no different than having an iPhone where you get Apple Care, and I know in 2 years my Apple Care is up, so I better make sure I don't drop my phone. If I do drop my phone, I better do it within 2 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, and that's just being, you know, it's part of the package.
Yeah.
You're adding it in. This is what you're going to tell your customer. This is what you got to do.
100%.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm glad you guys all thought this was a fun to relax and enjoy and wrap because, again, for me, I've been doing it for 26 years and I love it just as much now as I did then. It's actually funner and easier than it's ever been because now my quality, again, I think wrapping, especially if you get on the Wrap Institute, take a workshop, is I really feel like we do find the perfect balance between quality, durability, and efficiency.
Yeah.
Do I have quality? I think I have it in spades. Do I have durability? I think all the edges are relaxed. I don't think anything's going anywhere. Do I have efficiency? Yes. Do I have money in my pocket? No, because I'm doing this for free today. But you know, you get my point. But if I was doing this as a retail, I mean, when I lived in New York as a freelance installer, I was 25, 26 years old. I would wrap a car at 9, it'd be done by 12, and I'd be golfing in Westchester by 12:30.
Yeah.
And that's just what motivates me is time and money. I like time sometimes more than money because then you get to spend time with family and stuff like that.
Yep.
And this is a way to find that perfect balance in life, is that, you know, you have that good life-work balance, and that's what we all want.
Nice. There you go.
All right.
John said he just signed up,
Yeah,
so
he
that's
just
good.
signed up.
Thank you, John.
Let's bring Jimmy back up on the screen there. Jimmy says, so learning this whole process is possible through the Wrap Institute.
100%.
I know it's never as good as hands-on instruction, but can TWI teach me enough to be dangerous?
I would say very dangerous.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people taking the workshop right now today wanted hands-on, but they said I learned a lot through the Wrap Institute. And again, you can watch YouTube. There's some people out there like Vinyl Vixen is doing some good stuff, but I think with the Wrap Institute, we have full playlists. So like right now we have a playlist that's on right now. It's very popular. We wrapped a Nissan Skyline GTR, beautiful. We wrapped it with a Nesotech, so it's a 14-part series. So you see the whole wrapping process from start to finish. Watching that alone with having some practice film, I definitely think it'll make you dangerous. So
Yeah,
Oh, excellent.
There you go.
And of course, then we got Jacob here, just starting out. For someone with no experience, he wants to know where he should start to get into wrapping. I think you're the perfect entry.
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, this video is good where you can see how easy it is with the right tools. You can go to companies like Fellers. They have great tools. And you actually have a Justin Pate tool page. So if you go to my tool page on there, shop by brand, you can see all the tools I like. I would say getting some material, like Avery Dennison film, buy 5 or 10 yards of material and then practice on your hood, as I said, or practice on scraps. Wrap your laptop, you know. It's about wrapping. I mean, I think, you know, one of my favorites, I love reading about like Jimi Hendrix. You know, Jimi Hendrix went to the bathroom, he was playing on the bathroom. He went to the kitchen, he was playing it. So wrapping is one of those things where you always want to wrap something. If you see a laptop, wrap it. If you see a phone, wrap it. If you see, and then you'll start to get the feel and you'll start to read the wrinkles. You start to speak the
Well,
language.
like you did, I thought it was really cool last year. You did your daughter's class.
Yes.
They all got to wrap their desks.
Oh, that
you
was
know.
cool.
And then you also, during COVID, a lot of folks were home, and so one thing you did was say, hey, here's some scrap material.
Yes.
Let's wrap some coffee cups.
Yep.
They're learning compound they're learning how to do the curves. They're learning how to do stuff, and a coffee machine.
Yes.
It was just like, let's wrap these items because all these curves and shapes, they're all natural.
Yeah.
They're all things that you're going to find anywhere in your home. So, like you're saying, just wrap.
Yep.
Just have fun doing it, learn how to use it. And fellers.com is a great resource because you can pick up just about any product, any tool, and like you said, you got your tools right there. They can just pick out the things that you use every day, and that's the stuff that you're using on the Wrap Institute.
Actually, this is a good question.
So I
right
got
now.
Nathan here.
What's the most
go ahead.
challenging? Yeah, what's the most challenging vehicle to do a color change on? And all I'm going to say is white car.
There you go.
White car.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest with you, if the car's white, pink, or green, and they want to make the car black, that's the challenge. So number one thing I look at is color of the car.
Right.
Then I look at bumpers, mirrors, and door handles. But once you see with the Wrap Institute, especially our new techniques, the Wrap Matrix and Zero Stretch, we're actually showing how to wrap cars, even if they're super complicated and challenging, they're actually easier than ever. So I would really recommend watching the Wrap Matrix video
Well, and
series.
what I like with that, with the Wrap Institute, not only do you use all the different types of films and
Yes.
all the different tools, but you also bring in installers from all over the world.
100%.
So you guys can learn techniques that folks in Japan are doing.
Yeah.
You can learn techniques that folks in South America are doing or in Europe that maybe you're not getting from the guy down the, you know, your buddy who also wrapped cars for 10 years, but never left his town
Yep.
and never took a class. You're learning from everybody. And as we all know, that's the whole reason we do what we do, and the same reason that Justin does what he does. We want to learn from every single person.
Well, I mean, I was having, last night at the, we had a rag company had an event downtown Boise, and I was there, and I sat next to Jeff, and what Jeff, owner of rag company, loves is the fact that there's people in from Denmark and Sweden, and Germany and Amsterdam, and all these people were, having information. And that's just the melting pot, and that's what's beautiful about what you guys are doing and what we do on the Rep Institute.
Yep. That's right.
And we are supposed to wrap it up.
There we go. We're going to wrap.
So
Speaking of wrapping.
This is the last one. Yeah, this is it. So I'll round it out with this guy right here, JB.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I mean, so, one thing I've been teaching in the workshop this morning is, the customers want everything. They want a smooth finish. They come in with a car that has beat up paint. That's the question. And then they want to wrap on top. And you say, okay, for me to make this smooth and make it look like this, now what do we have to do? We have to wet sand it down, 1500 grit, make it really good, and then we can make it look, and it's great, and it's going to cost this much. And if they say, well, I don't want to pay that, well, then it was what I call lipstick on a pig, where right now, kind of like on Anthony's car, they wrapped the roof and they didn't really sand it down, and the price they paid is, after a while, it looked like lipstick on a pig. But lipstick on a pig, can look good.
Yeah.
Depends on.
Well, it depends. But again, it goes back to the surface of the paint.
And that's what you guys deal with, too.
Cleaning, prepping, making sure that it's as smooth as it can be before you put this on, because it is going to show if there are, let's say you got some clear coat failure and things like that. You gotta smooth that out, and you're gonna have to do that. So again, it goes right back to detailing. You got to learn that.
Yes.
If you're popping emblems off and you're not taking the glue off, you're going to be wrapping over the glue, and it's going to look not as good.
And same thing with rock chips. Paint protection. They do a lot of paint correction, but I think even with color change film, you're not going to see through it. But you need to level out those rock chips, otherwise you're going to see it.
Yep.
So it's not. It makes it look better, but it's not a perfect thing.
Correct.
But that's a big part of why being a detailer who can wrap or a wrapper who can detail is such a beneficial thing all the way around.
That's why I think in a shop today, I think the perfect shop is having a detailer on site, having someone who can take the car apart, and then having two wrappers who can do PPF and color change.
Correct.
And then you have someone who can kind of finish and sell, and then you're good. I think that's a perfect combination today. And I know shops that are doing that who are making solid 7 figures, which is great.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
cool.
pretty much
Justin,
rounds us
thank you,
out.
brother. Appreciate it.
Thank
It's
you.
always good to see you. Make sure you check out the wrapinstitute.com and you get your 15% off discount today. And then also make sure you check out Avery and Fellers, of course, for those future classes, and then getting your equipment and tools. So,
Awesome. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin. That was wonderful. What a master at work. There's just nothing like seeing that guy work. I mean, I think we were all super impressed, obviously. But thank you to everybody who tuned in here, watched, commented, all that stuff. As far as the giveaways and things like that, I know there have been some questions. Don't worry, that's getting handled on the back end. They're going to go back, they're going to review those comments, check the numbers, make sure it's all correct. And once I've got that squared away, then we'll probably come to letting people know. Maybe in the second half today, after a couple hours, I'll be able to have their answers for you, including the Rupes giveaway from yesterday, so important to note. Now, as far as what's coming up this afternoon, we can take a look here. We got Flex Tools, followed by Buff and Shine, and then rounding out the afternoon is P&S Products. So look forward to that coming up in a couple of hours. But first, we got to take a lunch break, and in the meantime, go check out the charity coin that today is being sponsored by P&S. Is going to a wonderful cause, helping drinking water in Africa, developing that. That's fantastic. And 100% of the proceeds from these coins, $10 coin, but all of your money goes towards these charities for each day. So make sure you're collecting the coins if you haven't already and you want to support a good cause. This is guaranteed a solid way to go. So, throw it in your cart while you're taking advantage of the 20% off sale, which for these brands you see here is today only. So for Thursday, you get to take basically a nice chunk off of Veloci, Solution Finish, Buff and Shine, P&S, etc., and you got yourself a good deal. So if those interest you, throw them in your cart today, take advantage of the sale, and throw a coin in while you're at it. We really appreciate you helping contribute to the cause, and it is really something great. And as mentioned there right at the end with the Rap Institute, go check that out. Use this code, make it happen. And for the rest of us here, we went a little over time, almost 20 minutes, but I think they're hungry for lunch, so we're going to go do that. But we'll be back in just a little while.